asking questions. See, dude, come on.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's cool though. I mean, I don't know what I talk about half the time either. Damn. This is fucking awesome. Who's this? Is this Don?
Don.
Hey, Don. Sick ass game, dude. Hell yeah, dude. I used to play that shit all the time. Chris and Oscar, just do this. Tell him to wait. Tell him to wait.
They're good. Don't worry about it.
Hello? Hello. Check your stuff. See
Hello?
if it's good.
Yeah. Hello?
I think you're good.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to another Wednesday Night Modern here at Collector Legion. With me today is Will. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good.
That's good. All right, so we have Chris Chris A, who is on Esper Scepter, and we have Oscar, who is on Grixis Death Shadow. So, you know what the Esper Scepter does? Because it runs
Scepter?
the I can't say that.
It's
Icon-
Isochron
yes.
Scepter. So it's basically playing a bunch of 2 mana or less instants.
Mm-hmm.
Isochron Scepter is a 2 mana
Go ahead.
artifact. With ETB, put a imprint, a instant or instant that costs 2 or less from your hand, and you may activate it for 2 mana to cast it. So importantly, things that have kicker, for instance, Orin's Chant, although that's not a modern legal card, you can still pay those kicker costs, but basically just gives you a redundant, reusable card advantage every turn for 2 mana. However, it is an artifact, so it's a little bit vulnerable to artifact destruction, like a Braid, K-Command. Those are cards that Grixis Death Shadow will be playing this matchup. And also, it is strict card disadvantage, so you can activate it for the second time, at which point it recovered the card parity, and on the third activation is when you start pulling ahead. So it's very slow to actually start pulling any advantage out of it. But quickly we can see out of Chris's hand a couple copies of the Isochron Scepter, 2 copies, and we see a fetch and a shock from Grixis Death Shadow, which is exactly what you'd expect in this kind of matchup. One upside that he's going to have in this matchup as well, Oscar, with his particular chosen pile of cards, is Path to Exile is quite good against the Death Shadow deck because they only play so many creatures, and having singularly large pieces of removal are going to be very effective. But looking at the hand, we can see a Polluted Delta, 2 copies of the Isochron Scepter, a Path to Exile, a Fatal Push, and a Mystical Teachings. Mystical Teachings lets you look at the top 5 cards of your library to pick any instant or sorcery and reveal it and put it in your hand. In his case, he's mostly looking at picking up just instants. It also has flashback. Yeah, that is a Mystical Teaching. It also has flashback to for quite a bit of cost to. You have the names reversed.
Oh, I do, huh? No, that's Oscar. That's Chris.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. My player, he's playing Esper Scepter.
So it does look like Oscar is going to go for the Scepter.
Wait, did I spell that right now? Is it with the C or S?
It's S-C-E.
S-C?
S-C-E-P-T.
S-C-S. Oh, okay, gotcha. Right. I'll fix that right now.
And we're going to see a fetch for a Godless Shrine out of Chris. So pretty quickly, turn 2, he's probably looking on just casting the Isochron Scepter and putting the Path to Exile on it. Path to Exile, very powerful removal spell against the Grixis Death Shadow deck. They basically play singular large creatures, and importantly, Oscar will not be able to Stubborn Denial this as he is tapped out. So he'll have to wait until at least turn 3 to be able to do anything about it by casting a K-Command, hopefully for some value.
Mm-hmm.
And a Plains off the top, so pretty likely to see just Scepter, Imprint, Path to Exile, and there we have it. So Oscar is going to really need to find a K-Command in his main deck if he wants to be able to stick a creature for the long game. Playing a creature, Stubborn Denying, and then getting untapped and having a second Stubborn Denial is too unrealistic to have too many times before your creature's a stat and you run out of gas. But we're seeing another fetch shock out of Oscar. Very standard for the Death Shadow deck. Probably looking to play something. Didn't get a good look at the hand. I'm pretty sure he has at least 1 Stubborn Denial in it, though. But it's going to be very difficult to hard counter something with that Stubborn Denial at the time being, considering he does not have enough mana to cast a Gurmag Angler, which is the cheapest 5-mana creature, or 5-power creature, or 4-power creature, or greater, that you can put into play.
Right on. So, who do you think has the advantage right now?
Just being able to stick the Scepter on the board is going to be big game here. It's going to basically check all of Oscar's threats until the Scepter's been dealt with, and it's going to make it difficult for him to fight through this. The first two will ramp Oscar, though. Death Shadow typically plays two basics, a single basic island and a single basic swamp. So, at least at the very beginning, it's not strict card advantage to do so. But Chris is not also in a spot where he is necessarily pressed to use the Path to Exile that's underneath the Isochron Scepter, as he does have Fatal Push to check any Death Shadows.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
In hand. And it makes more sense to imprint the Path to Exile anyways. Fatal Push can only hit Death Shadow in the matchup, and Path to Exile can hit any creature.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes more sense that you want to have the better reusable removal spell. What did he drop? That looked like a Dimir Charm?
Yeah, he does run Dimir Charm.
That is literally a Dimir Charm. Dimir Charm, counter target sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of the target player's library, mill 2 of them, put the last one on top. And the last mode is destroy creature with power 2 or less. So that last mode is not relevant. It's basically just going to be able to counter target sorcery, but unfortunately the only sorcery in Death Shadow is Serum Visions. So this Dimir Charm is going to be really bad. It's not likely to do anything significant in this matchup.
And there goes Dimir Charm. Well, where is that? There you go.
Yep, so that's the Dimir Charm. Unlikely to do anything significant in this matchup. None of Oscar's creatures have less than 2 power besides Snapcaster Mage. The only sorcery in the deck is the Serum Visions. And on top of that, so it can't counter very much. In the last mode, just look at the top 3 cards of a library and mill 2 is just not a very powerful effect for 2 mana.
Yeah, that's why you really don't see Dimir Charm too much in Modern, don't you?
Yeah, I played it in my Legacy deck because it's a Chalice deck, so we can't play cards like Envelop, or the strictly better Envelop, which is from Shadows that I can't remember the name of at the moment. That also Surgicals if you have Delirium. But in this case, it doesn't look like we're seeing anything coming out of Oscar's deck. I like holding on to the Dimir Charm. You're probably never going to cast it in this matchup.
It's my favorite Magic card to play.
The Isochron Scepter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Isochron Scepter has been garbage since they printed Abrupt Decay.
Oh, and Calling Its Command, which is in the guy's hand.
Is it in his
Nice.
hand?
Yeah, it's in Oscar's hand, yeah.
I would have just fired it off then.
Still thinking about it.
Like I don't see a reason to
I think you just drew. You just drew into it with the Serum Visions.
He might have, but there's literally no reason to hold on
Yeah.
Take Command this matchup. Like, you're just giving your opponent opportunities to draw counter magic.
Yeah.
Especially considering that Chris is now going to be able to fetch, shock, cast Mystical Teachings to try to find a piece of counter magic.
Mm-hmm.
Mystical Teachings.
It costs 3, right? Or is it 4?
4. It's
4.
Missed it.
And,
So it's
So
not gonna be enough,
flashback
so
is 7.
there goes Thought
Scour
Scour,
targeting
his opponent.
Fatal Push is not a card that he wants in the matchup, besides the one that you raised in hand, and the Hallow Fountain is a land. He would have liked that, but not much you can do about it in the moment.
Mystical Teachings.
But the Dimir Charm is definitely not going to do anything in this matchup.
Yeah.
There's just not enough sorceries here.
And Gurmag Angler.
So Oscar is going to get a free land out of it, but it did cost him a significant portion of his graveyard to do so because he chose not to fire off.
I think you're kind of right. I think he should have fired off the
If he had the K Command.
K command. Yeah, if he had the K command. Yeah.
If he didn't have the K Command, then I probably would have still held on to the Angler for another turn. You just don't get enough value just because you tapped out, you spent all of your cards to get a land out of your deck. Like
that makes no sense. It doesn't make sense.
You're getting 6 cards out of your yard in a deck that actively uses the graveyard as a resource, like Snapcaster Mage and other copies of Gurmag Angler. You are playing a full set of 4 Delve creatures, usually 3 Gurmag Anglers and a Cassiger. So I'm not a fan of the sequence.
Sure.
What's up, guys?
Oh, what's up, Kyle? Sorry about that. It was a little late. I was looking up cards and stuff. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining us, man. All right, so Isochron
I love that card.
Isochron Scepter. Nice. All right, so now it's Oscar's turn, and should he just go straight for the K command right now?
Yes. Assuming your opponent doesn't have the Spell Pierce, which is unlikely in the spot, you have to go for the K command, and yeah, there is no Spell Pierce in hand. That's a Mystical Teachings, a Dimir Charm.
So he's gonna make him discard a card, right? Yeah.
No, that's not Nagging Thoughts.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense. But what's a discard? He's discarding the one unknown. And it's a Teferi, Mage's Elfir.
Oh, okay.
That card is actually going to be will be good in the match. Would have been good in the matchup if you ever actually got to 6 or so mana. Thoughts Scour opponent again. Those are 2 lands that you would like to draw on.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, that can't be a land. That's white border, and this is modern. That spell caller would have been huge if he had it last turn,
Yeah.
but unfortunate.
Like he drew another Thought Scour and a lightning bolt.
There was a bolt, so it wasn't like it wasn't guaranteed to get the job done, but it would have been huge.
He also has a Death Shadow, and
Well, the thing is, Oscar knows about the Fatal Push in hand, so
Mhm.
he doesn't want to throw anything that just dies at Fatal Push and trying to go out a way to protect it. Another mill your opponent. I don't think this is a viable game plan. He should be milling himself for his Snapcaster Mages and his Tassikers.
yeah, that's very true.
Thoughtseize, you should Demure Charm.
And that's what Chris is, I think, thinking right now.
He's thinking about Spell Quelling, just to get like the creature on the board.
But I wouldn't
But the
be.
issue with the Spell Queller is
It can die to either a bolt.
If he has
Yeah.
a bolt, then you're just so he's going to go for the Spell Queller possibly. I mean, he's fetching and shocking.
But I mean, Chris doesn't know he has a bolt and 2 bolts in his hand. I think he has 2 bolts. Oscar has 2 bolts in his hands, but I know for sure he has a bolt. So
Death Shot, Watery Grave. There's at least 1 bolt. I would be surprised if there's 2 because I think Death Shot will typically only play 1 or 2 bolts right now in general, and he's going for the Demure Charm. And I like this line a little bit better.
yeah,
Counter target sorcery. It doesn't come up often, but this is a sorcery that you want to counter.
does he want us to? No.
There's no point in Stubborn not
Yeah.
coming back. He can pay for it. And on top of that, like, then what? Right? Like, what value are we getting by Stubborn now in this as
Yeah.
opposed to the Path to Exile or a Fatal Push that you know is in his hand, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know that Chris has a Fatal Push in hand. So there's no point in playing into a removal spell that you know about.
Should he play the path? Should he play the
I would play out the Tassiger this turn.
Tassiger? Yes.
And the reason to play the Tassiger out, and this is the reason why I don't like Dot Scouring my opponent, he left himself with a very small graveyard.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because now he's gonna have to exile cards that
he might have
delve.
to get,
yeah.
Importantly, he has to delve away the K command.
Yeah.
And that's not a card that you want to delve away in this matchup. Yes, you got 2 of the Ice-Crown Scepters, and those are 2 huge portions of his deck, but still, you're not. And he's playing out the Death Shadow into the. Oh, he does have Stubborn Denial mana for the Fatal Push.
Yeah.
That's. I have no idea what he drew. Chris is like really choked on blue mana at the moment. It looks like.
All the mill. He was.
Well, the mill hasn't been doing anything significant, right? Like, milling your opponent doesn't increase the average quality of their draw, or decrease it for that matter. Like, yes, you would have liked to have the lands, but not having the lands is not a big deal. You're in a spot where there's no reason to cast a Path to Exile or Fatal Push on your own turn. You know your opponent likely has a counterspell, so you might as well let them do some things instead. We're going to see a Polluted Delta being played as well from Oscar. So Oscar getting himself down to 5 life, get an 8/8 walking, 8/8 Death Shadow. He is going to fetch. Down to 7. Down to 5. So he's going to get the 8/8 walking. 8/8. I keep saying walking. So 8/8 Death Shadow.
Nice. I turned it up already. There you go. You're good.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you're better.
So Death Shadow, 2-turn clock, exactly 2 turns here, and with the copy of Bolt still in hand, as well as the Stubborn Denial, it's pretty likely that Chris is going to die in this spot.
Yeah.
This Death Shadow is going to attack. Chris is going to. Oh, what is that?
Jesus.
I'm not sure what that first spell was, but we're going to see Snap Stubborn. Oh, no. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Stubborn Denial is still on the stack.
Yeah. I think that's what he's explaining it to him.
Looks like that's a repeal. Yeah, that's a repeal.
Go check what that card is. The other one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a repeal. Considering you tap 2 mana for it, so I'm pretty sure it's a repeal. But the Death Shadow is going to die, and that's going to stop the 2-turn clock. Snapcaster is now known about. The last card in hand looks like Snapcaster Thoughtseize Bolt. Oh, it's Spell from Araska? What? What is that? What is that? That is some silly shenanigans right there. It is an unsummon though. 2 mana on summon. That what?
It's an expel from Maraska.
I have no idea what that card is and why
It's
anyone.
it's in standard. It's a standard card. I'll look it up. Don't worry.
That is not a particularly impressive Magic card.
So here's expel from Araska out of the new set
So it's a 2
X1.
mana disperse.
as a send.
So it bounces any non-land permanent to their owner's hand. But if you have a send, it bounces to the top of the library instead. Not, again, the most powerful spell. And it looks like it's going to be Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster resolves, and we're going to see a copy of K-Command being cast, but it's going to get remanded. Chris's top of his deck going...
Wait, if it gets remanded, it goes to his hand, doesn't it?
no, because it's
no.
being cast from the graveyard.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Flashback just says when it gets removed from the stack, you have to exile the spell you've cast.
Mm,
Attack for 2, put him down to 11.
nice.
11? I thought he was at 14, but... Or should be 14.
Oh, there you go. You found the
And
island.
see, it settled the wreckage in hand.
That's good.
Things are looking a little bit better for Chris at the moment. He bolted
Thought
face.
Scout.
I don't like bolting face. That was... And I
And Thought Scour
still don't like
targeting
thought
him.
scouring my opponent. Milden Isochron Scepter, so I guess it worked out, but I'm still not a fan of these plays.
Swings in for 2. He's going to go to 9.
I like just casting the Blessed Alliance here.
Oh, nice.
Just cash it in. If your opponent has... I would have just gained the life too. I'm not playing around the second Stubborn Nile. You have the settle for the following turn. If he burns a Stubborn Nile, there's only so many resources you can have.
And there goes Grimlock Angler. It's a good finisher. If you can get there.
But again, like he could have so much more cards in his graveyard. He
Yeah.
can make this like a lot less painful. He can make his Snapcaster so much more powerful. And instead, he's left with kind of an anemic graveyard, right? Like he has Bolt of Thoughtseize in his graveyard, and it's like these aren't Death Shadow and a Stubborn Nile. Like these are cards that are fine, but they don't get the job done. Passing, you probably just pass back here. Chris's deck basically plays entirely at instant speed, besides
Yeah.
casting the Isochron Scepter.
He's going to swing. And there
Settle
goes
the
Settle the
wreckage, so he
Wreckage.
needs to have.
Stubborn now? No.
And he does not have it. So he's going to be able to get the basic swamp out of his deck, and that's going to be the last basic. So all of Chris's Path to Exiles are basically without downside.
Yeah. Settle the Wreckage has been seeing a lot of modern play, don't you think?
Yeah, it's good against humans. Meddling Mage is typically naming the more powerful wraths, the ones that you can't necessarily play around by slow rolling your attacks. They're usually playing the wraths that just unconditionally clean up the board. Wrath of God, Supreme Verdict, Damnation, Day of Judgment, even Terminus to an extent. But Settle the Wreckage is good enough. It's not that it's better than the other wraths, it's that it's good enough. And importantly, it does exile as opposed to destroy. So it also puts you in a spot where... Oh, Mystical Student searches for an instant. But it also puts you in a spot where you don't have to worry about the...
Who's going to get a Path to Exile? Nice.
Yeah, so it's free. One of the most common things that you see Mystical Teachings do in Standard was Mystical Teachings for Mystical Teachings. And then you would flash back the second Mystical Teachings later, because that's his card advantage.
Wow.
Snapcaster Mage drawn for Chris, so he's gonna be able to path and then have Snap Path for the next threat that Oscar has. And the Snapcaster Mage is actually very likely to go the distance. Does Oscar have a third basic?
Yeah.
No, he's just shuffling.
Oh, easy.
He's just shuffling.
And
Yeah,
there
so
goes
there's the
Mystical
Mystical Teachings.
Teachings.
It's 4 mana, search your deck for an instant or a card with flash, reveal it and put it in your hand. That's one of the reasons why the Teferi is in the deck. You can tutor it with Mystical Teachings. And it's probably just a 1-of. And then flashback 5 into black, you can flash it back to get the same effect. So it was very common for the first Mystical Teachings to search up a Mystical Teachings. And then you would later cash in a Mystical Teachings for value later. So it basically generated card advantage. Ease Mystical Teachings is a very slow 10 mana 2-for-1. But it's spread out over a couple turns.
Nice. Oh, and there goes Chris. He hit a spell queller. Him drawing a spell queller, you think it's good for him right now or no?
I'm pretty sure he had the Spell Queller.
Oh, he did? Oh.
And we're going to see a Fatal Push. Oscar a little bit light on remove. Oh, he has a second Spell Queller now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right now, Chris is really looking at drawing lands.
Yeah.
He wants to draw lands. He does have the second copy of Mystical Teachings in his hand, and he's going to be able to cast that this turn. He is looking for the 6th land, so he can start flashing back Mystical Teachings as well. I'm surprised he didn't cast the Mystical Teachings in his hand. But just passing back.
Are you gonna see the Mystical Teachings on end step?
Yeah, I'm just casting the one in hand. Things to search for at this point. Snapcaster Mage is fine.
Oh, you guys are Teferi, Planeswalker in there.
Yeah, Teferi seems fine in this deck. I mean, both Teferis, obviously. But I think this Teferi is a little bit risky. You're playing into a lot of removal spells. Monastery Mentor makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure that was a Monastery Mentor that I saw.
What do you think of the Teferi over Jason Mind Sculptor right now in Modern?
Teferi is better than Jason Modern.
Mm-hmm. Why?
The big problem with Jason Modern is that he doesn't actively protect himself. Modern is not Legacy. You don't have Force Will to just like turn Brainstorm into a way to protect your Planeswalker perpetually, and Disrupting Shoal is just not Force of Will.
Yeah.
It just does not do the same thing.
That's true.
And secondly,
And there goes Teferi.
Modern is a creature-oriented format. People are playing on the ground.
Yeah.
So you're not in a format where you can just afford to.
He's
you know,
flashbacking the mystical teachings.
Yeah. For the rest of the game, all of his spells are going to be uncounterable.
Nice.
And that's probably going to be game here.
Yeah.
Attack for 2 or 3.
Puts him at 2. What can you do here?
Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything he can do. As long as there's another Path to Exile still left in Chris's deck, he's going to be able to flash back the mystical teachings. Oh, okay. He's going to kill himself.
Nice. All right, and Oscar takes the first match here between Chris's Death Shadow and Esper Scepter. Esper Scepter coming back, really also being stuck on lands, but being able to come back and taking care of Oscar.
So one thing that's really good about Blessed Alliance in this matchup
Mm-hmm.
is that you can pay the escalate cost when you are casting it off Isochron Scepter.
Oh, okay.
Because it is an additional cost to escalate. So even though it costs 2, you can get the full value out of your Blessed Alliances when you imprint them. Chris is sideboarding in the Surgical Extraction. I am not a fan. Surgical Extraction is not a card that you bring up in fair matchups. Surgical Extraction might be the most overboard card in any format. And the reason for that is that people want to try to get their opponent, right? They want to get a card they think is crucial to how their opponent wins the game, but it's just not that significant. It doesn't make a huge difference taking out the copy of Kolaghan's Command if they never were going to draw another copy of Kolaghan's Command anyways. You only want to bring in Surgical Extraction against decks where it matters, where the
Nice. Go ahead. Oh, shit. Wrong one. Go ahead.
where the card will stop your opponent from winning the game explicitly. And this is just not one of those matchups. Snapcaster is good, and hitting a single copy of your opponent's K command they're trying to snap back can get you value, but it's not going to be the only card that's going to matter in this game, right? Like, you're not playing against Dredge, where surgically their one Dredger ends them. You're not playing against KCI, where hitting their correct Klein Ironworks means that they can't combo off anymore. You're playing against a deck that has a fair game plan with these powerful, fair, mid-rangey cards. You don't want to play a card that does not generate card advantage in this kind of situation.
Isochron Scepter, is that before like Modern has gotten this far? How was it a really good deck back then, or no?
No, it's never been a good deck.
No, it's just a trash deck.
It used to be more playable in Legacy. And importantly, it's because in Legacy there is a legal magic card called Orum's Chant. Orum's Chant is 1 mana. Opponents may not cast spells this turn.
Oh god.
But then it also has the additional kicker. You can pay a white as an additional kicker to also prevent your opponent from attacking.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
So it basically just locks your opponent out of the game. The issue with that strategy is that Abrupt Decay got printed.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Abrupt Decay, K-Command, Abrade. These are all cards that are kind of main deckable. Not all of them. Abrade is getting very close, but not quite there in Legacy. But these are all main deckable answers to an Isochron Scepter lock.
So going over the table too, match ended already with Will Pugh beating Soul Sisters 2-0. He challenged turn 1, both games.
Will is playing
White Eldrazi.
Mono White Eldrazi. Is he playing Simian Spirit Guides?
Yes, 'cause he does have red spells, he said.
Okay, so he's playing more or less like the Eldrazi Stompy list, except adding white as a splash color. It's kind of low cost to do so. There's not a significant loss to just fire off the Chalice with the Spirit Guides, other than the fact that you're playing a little bit more air. The Legacy decks and Vintage deck, for that matter, typically end up having to play about 30 mana sources to be able to reasonably cast all of their spells.
Yeah.
I imagine that the Modern deck is playing a few less because it doesn't have as fast mana, so a lot of the mana sources are permanent mana sources and lands. But you're probably still looking at a 24 to maybe 25 land deck.
Yeah.
Even with the Spirit Guide. So you're still looking at 28 sources of mana, which is a lot. That is a significant portion of your deck that's just used to cast spells.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. All right, so we're over here starting game number 2 between Oscar and Chris, and right away Oscar is both players are mulliganing. They're gonna go down to 6.
Chris is keeping.
Chris is keeping?
Chris is keeping.
I thought he was mulligan. I don't know why I thought he mulligan. My bad.
There's a mentor in the opening hand for Chris as well.
Which is
Path
really good,
Exile,
yeah.
Mystical Teachings, and 3 lands. It looks like a swamp and 2 glacial fortresses.
Yeah.
So pretty solid opener for Chris. It's a little bit slow. He'd like to have a basic island or a basic plains in his hand, or something with the basic land type to make sure the glacial fortresses enter untapped. And the Path Exile is going to buy him some time. And also, you're playing against a Thoughtseize deck, right? Like, generically speaking, you don't want to mulligan against Thoughtseize decks because if your hand is playable as is, it's not going to be more playable once you take out the best card. It's the same kind of mulligan. Oh, he actually has a Leyline Sanctity open in the hand as well.
Man, that's really good.
So this is going to be very difficult for Oscar to play against, I think.
Yeah. So Oscar, knowing the Grixis Death Shadow more of the sideboard and stuff, what do you think Oscar brought in against Chris?
If he has a 3rd copy or a 4th copy of Cake Man in sideboard, he's very likely to have brought that in. If he has extra counter magic, he might have brought that in.
Revealing a land already.
I mean, that's probably the land he's going to play anyways, but we're going to see the pregame effect for Leyline Sanctity. So it
Leyline
looks like Chris's hand is 3 lands, Monastery Mentor, Path to Exile, and Mystical Teachings. So both players on a kind of multi-6, but Chris gets a free card in play. It's a compensation package. Now, Leyline Sanctity does give you hexproof, so you cannot be the target of spell or abilities your opponent controls. Oh, it's not a Glacial Fortress. It looks like they're actually flooded strands.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's going to keep him flowing, keep his hand flowing a little bit better. Double fetch from Oscar. Probably shocking twice. Chris's deck is not particularly fast, although it's faster than you might think, given that he does have that Mentor in hand.
And there goes Leyline Sanctity.
The issue with the Mentor is it's slow. Unless you're casting a spell the turn you play the Mentor, you have to untap with it to get value. And additionally, a lot of Chris's spells are reactive, not proactive things. He's not playing Serum Visions. He's not playing as many ops, as far as I can tell. So it's going to be hard for him to just generate tokens and generate prowess when he wants to. He kind of has to let his opponent let him make those tokens.
Nice.
Serum Visions
Serum
coming out
Visions.
from Oscar. Just taking a draw. Didn't see it. Looks like he has a Snapcaster Mage in hand for Oscar. And I know Chris drew a Snapcaster for the turn as well.
He's stubborn to now. He has, I think, another Thought Scour in hand.
So I see
It's a
him
snap.
contemplating Snap in the
Yeah.
land. He probably wants both of those cards, but it looks like he's actually shipping the Snap away.
He's gonna pass.
Yeah, he's keeping up mana for the potential turn 2 Isochron Scepter.
And there goes.
But Chris actually has nothing. Chris is
yeah.
not doing anything for the next couple turns.
He drew
His
into
hand is
a
entirely
Teferi.
reactive.
Yeah.
Teferi is still a long ways off. Chris
Yeah.
has no additional lands in hand, so he only has the 3 he started with. And playing the Mentor out is risky. Oscar did get the 7 mana. 7 mana does mean that Gurmag Angler can be cast. That's 3 lands in play, plus the 4 cards in the graveyard. The big thing about Thoughtscour in the matchup is that it functionally reads Dark Ritual, draw a card when you're playing your Del Threats. And that's one of the reasons why I wasn't a fan of Oscar's play of Thoughtscouring Chris in game 1. You're just discarding that extra advantage against you. But it's
Oh,
double
he's gonna
Death Shadow.
put double Death
and
Shadow.
Unfortunately, this is not going to work out for Oscar here. Even with the fetch, those are still only 2/2 Death Shadows. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a Path to Exile here, and then it's going to be Land Snap Path.
Oh man.
The Stubborn Denial will be able to counter the second one, but then Oscar is out of ways to damage himself.
Yeah. Oof.
It's also possible that Chris actually just goes for the Mentor and just decides to take this hit from the Death Shadow on the nose. Currently, Oscar has a Snap in hand as well as a Stubborn Denial. So it doesn't look like he actually has removal for the Monastery Mentor for it to come down.
Death Shadow. What do you think about the Death Shadow decks right now? Have they slowed down ever since Humans, or?
Well, Death Shadows has a pretty poor Humans matchup. Reflector Mage is a real beating against these kind of decks. He drew a land. Chris drew a land, so that's going to be able to turn on his Mystical Teachings now. So the question is, does he Snap Path now to play around the
Stubborn Denial?
and play into the Stubborn Denial? There's nothing
Oh,
he
yeah.
can do about the Stubborn Denial given his current draw.
That's correct.
Or does he just play the Mentor and hope his opponent doesn't have a removal spell? Chris chose to pass. And if he is choosing to pass here, he's in an awkward spot. Oscar drew a shock land. So he can no longer Snap Path, and have it resolve, regardless of what Oscar has. And there's going to be a Stubborn Denial on the path. But it hasn't been cast yet, so Oscar's jumping the gun here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are seeing the block. He's going to block anyways. Like, there's no reason not to. Oh, he's just taking it.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take 4. Fetch will put him down to 12. Teferi is not going to resolve on this board. Monastery Mentor does not have a 1-mana spell to pair with it. I'm not a huge fan of Chris's play here.
Well, what would you have taken the better route? What would have been
I think
the
I'm in a
better
spot
option?
where I'm just jamming the Monastery Mentor on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
The worst case is your opponent has a removal spell.
Another Death Shadow.
And-
Is this where you're gonna path? Oh, he
Well,
has.
you don't have to, but I think you're priced in to pathing here, and I definitely am not shocking.
Yeah, because then I just.
But he might only have 1 basic planes,
Yes, he probably does.
so he's down to 10.
10.
And path, it's gonna get Stubborn Denialed. Not much you can do about that.
There you go.
And the last card in hand is Snapcaster Mage for Oscar.
Yeah.
So, what I want to see from Chris is just untap, slam Monastery Mentor, and hopefully he draws a Fatal Push or something. And he drew Path Exile. That gets the job done.
Yeah.
So Mentor Path Exile is going to clear up one of the tokens. You cast that now, and it does get it, and you do not attack.
And he's gonna go search for a basic.
So the big thing about Monastery Mentor is this card is actually completely heinously broken. If you get to untap with Monastery Mentor, you probably do not lose. This card puts a lot of power on the board. The Monk tokens have prowess.
Yeah.
And a lot of these decks that are playing Monastery Mentor are generally... yes, one of the paths in the graveyard should be exiled. And yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, he got it. The one that we cast off the snap should be exiled.
Nice.
At this point, like, drawing a land and just casting the Mystical Teachings or just casting the Teferi into a known snap. Looks like Oscar's draw for the turn was a copy of Stubborn Denial. Attacking with Death Shadow here could leave Oscar dead. And that's the real risk. If he does attack and Chris draws, for instance, a 1-mana sorcery or 1-mana spell, he could be dead. But Oscar is actually just proactively casting
Serum
a
Vision.
Snapcaster Mage because he does have the singleton copy of
I think
Stubborn Denial.
he's
or
cried-
Singleton Stubborn Sand.
Yeah.
In addition to the 1 yard, he probably brought in the extra 1 in the sideboard as well. It's an attack, so yeah, you're definitely just jumping here.
He also scried a
cried a snap to the
Mage.
top.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Gurmag. Nice.
Not a fan of that.
Why?
He tapped himself out. So
Oh, that's true.
So Chris drawing a land means that he gets the point to Fairy.
Oh,
And
because the Blessed Lines.
Blessed Alliance is no good in this spot.
You don't think so?
Oscar's drawing snap, and he has a Stubborn Denial in hand.
That's true.
So the Skirmag Angler is going to be pretty good. Also, the issue with the Blessed Alliance is that all it does is... Oh, no.
Oh, no, he can make him gain life.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's going to get countered.
Yeah.
Chris missed a window. He should have given Oscar the extra 4 life
Yeah.
on his turn to play around the Stubborn Denial.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is exiled. I am pre-block casting the Blessed Alliance. I am escalating because you're not beating a copy
Ooh,
anyways. I am making him gain 4 life, and I am going to say sacrifice a creature. You get a token, and it's going to get stubborn. That's fine.
Yeah.
This is an attack for 9, so you have to block.
They all have prowess, right? The monks.
All have prowess, so he currently has 6 toughness, and he's going to block both.
Nice.
Oscar's
Last turn.
Chris needs to draw a land.
And
That was a
spell queller.
So Chris does not have a way to trigger prowess this turn. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like this game is going Chris's way, especially now that Snap is active. There is a spell in the yard. There is that Stubborn Denial. He wasn't able to find a land to cast it Teferi on the previous turn. The Blessed Alliance should have been cast on his own turn just to kill the Death Shadow, making his opponent gain 4 life. And that makes a significant
swinging
difference
wide.
here.
No
Mystical
mystical
Teachings is triggered, make
teachings.
a token. That's the teachings he had in the beginning of the game. I would have just Snap countered that, but sure. He's probably going to grab a Path Exile here. Or a Blessed Alliance. That's fine. I mean, none of these spells should be resolving if Oscar does have the Snap that he scribes at the top in hand still.
That's interesting.
you have to chump. So you're going to block the Snapcaster with the Monastery Mentor, and you're going to... I don't like these blocks. The Monastery Mentor is a 3-3 right now against the 2-1 Snap. So you throw the Monk underneath the Gurmag Angler, the Monastery Mentor underneath the Snap. You take the 4 damage from the Death Shadow, go to 6. You're still not winning the game immediately, but you buy yourself the opportunity to try to do something.
Yeah.
And you keep the Mentor alive. And that's the most important thing. And those are the wrong blocks. He's definitely forgotten about the Prowess trigger on his own Mentor.
Yeah. Because the Mentor would be... the Mentor is what, a 1...
The Mentor should have been a 3-3.
3-3, right? Yeah.
So it would have been able to block the Snap for free.
Yeah. You should have just thrown the token at
Chris
the...
does hit 4.
Yeah.
Goes to 6.
Oh, man.
So Chris throwing away some valuable resources there.
Yeah. That... All right,
Draw
Kyle.
for the turn was not a land, was Leyline Sanctity, and that's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
Can't cast the Snap, or can't, like, there's nothing good to Snap. He had the Blessed Alliance. His hand is like Queller, Blessed Alliance, Teferi, Leyline Sanctity, and none of those spells are going to do anything in the face of the Snapcaster Mage.
I mean,
Monster's hand.
he could bring in Spell Queller, right? And block.
Yeah, but again, the question is, where is that getting you? Like, how are you winning the game doing this? And on top of that, like, you still die if Oscar has a K command or a bolt. Like,
Yeah.
you're still taking the damage, you're still dying.
He has Stubborn Denial, Snapcaster, I think.
And also, if Oscar has, like, a fetch land, he forces you to chump the Death Shadow, and now your fetches are off for the rest of the game. So it's going to be a rough spot. So we are going to see the Blessed Alliance, and it is going to get Snap, Stubborn Denial, and he is going to die. That is more than lethal.
Yeah.
And Oscar's going to take game 2. I think Chris played a little bit loose. He did get a little bit unfortunate, and part of the issue is that he's playing a lot of these very expensive cards. And his land count might be a bit light for what he's trying to do. He's trying to play Teferis, both of them. Blessed Alliances with Escalate, the Monastery Mentor, and he has a lot of cheap instants and sorceries. Not saying he doesn't. He's playing Fatal Push, Path Exile, even Isochron Scepter is cheap, and importantly, it says Cast, so that triggers Prowess.
Yes.
So that's also value. But this is not a matchup where you can really expect the Isochron Scepters to stick. Your opponent's likely bringing in a Braid. Your opponent is likely bringing in K commands, extra K commands,
Yeah.
just to deal with those things alone, let alone the rest of your creatures. Chris could have played a little bit tighter. He could have left the Monastery Mentor on the table. That would have left him not dead. It would have put him to 1. I don't think you can afford to give away the Mentor in that spot. Even on the following turn, I think you just have to accept that you're dead to a K command.
Yeah.
So I feel like Chris had a better opportunity to get there. I'm surprised he brought in the Surgicals and not the Rest in Peace. The Rest in Peace is a blowout.
It'll blow him out. But also because Chris thinks that, he's probably going to lock him out because he has Snapcaster Mage as well.
You just kind of... It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Because your opponent leans on the Graveyard Heart. The only Graveyard Recursion that Chris has in his deck is his couple copies of Snapcaster. And I don't know how many copies he's running. He might be running the full 4, but that's all it's locking out.
Yeah.
On Oscar's side, it makes Tasigur, Gurmag Angler, and Snapcaster virtually non-threats.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
That means the only threat that Oscar gets to lean on now is exclusively Death Shadow, the threat that you are most equipped to deal with.
And damaging himself a lot.
Right? So, it's not a good spot for Oscar if Rest in Peace gets played, but Surgical Extraction doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And the reason why Chris wants to bring in Surgical, I guess, is because it does have synergy with Isochron Scepter, but that synergy is not powerful enough. It's getting a random card, and sometimes you'll get a card of your opponent's hand for 2 mana each turn.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's still a lot of mana for that too. All right, and we're gonna go on to game number 3. Also, guys, don't remember this Saturday we have our what's that thing called?
Modern Staples event.
Modern Staples event. Thank you, man. Sorry.
Yeah, Modern Staples event on Friday.
Saturday.
Or Saturday. I will be probably commentating or playing that with silly Amulet decks or whatever. Chris on a good 7.
Oh, he dropped the card or what?
Someone was reading a card in
okay.
his hand. It was Dimir Charm. His hand is a little bit land light. 2 lands.
Starts off with a Hollow Fountain, passes turn. Now Oscar draws a card, looking at it, see what he's gonna play.
It's kind of been the story of Chris's hands. He's always been land light.
Yeah.
I feel like he either needs to up his cantrip count or just play more lands.
He's gonna fetch Shock,
Yeah,
possibly getting a Watery Grave.
Likely going to 17. likely getting a Wandering Grave,
And Thoughtseize or
likely casting Serum Visions or
oh,
Thoughtseize.
Serum Vision or Thoughtseize. That's pretty much a play one for Grixis Death Shadow.
These are the things that Death Shadow does on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an Inquisition, I guess, but likely one of the others.
I think Thoughtseize would be more better because you're taking more life.
Well, it's not necessarily like losing more life. It's
Yeah.
about like the information is valuable.
Yeah.
And it is a
Oh,
Thought
it's a
Scour,
Thought
so
Scour.
please, no.
I can see why you want to Thought Scour yourself. That way you can build up.
If you Thought Scour yourself, you can get a turn 2 Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's actually 3 lands from Chris's hand, but his hand is still mostly uncastable. He drew a Leyline Sanctity for the turn.
It's
Yeah,
a
and
Gurmag,
he drew a
yeah.
Gurmag Angler off the top.
Yeah.
So he would have been able to cast the Gurmag Angler this turn
Yeah.
if he just Thought Scoured himself.
And he drew into
And he drew the fetch land. So he
fetch land.
guaranteed would have hit it.
Yeah.
So I think Oscar is critically misplaying his own deck here.
Well, actually, no. If he Thought Scour himself, he probably wouldn't have hit the Gurmag because wouldn't he?
He mills the Gurmag, but it doesn't matter because
Yeah.
that's results oriented thinking to an extent, right?
Yeah.
The whole point is like you're playing a Snapcaster Gurmag deck.
Yeah.
You want cards in your graveyard as early as possible to turn those cards online. Yes, he did draw the Gurmag because he Thought Scoured his opponent.
Yeah.
That's not the point, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you had a Gurmag in hand previously, it still doesn't make any sense to Thought Scour your opponent. Even if you didn't have it, it also makes no sense. Your card. So let's say you mill the Gurmag Angler.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing a 3 to 4 K command deck. You can get that Gurmag Angler back.
Yeah. That's true.
So milling over creatures isn't a problem in this deck. Milling over instants and sorceries fuels your Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah.
And milling over anything else fuels your Delve creatures. Like I said, in this deck, Thought Scour reads Dark Ritual, draw a card.
Oh yeah.
And that is an incredibly powerful effect that Oscar is not playing to the highest possible, highest ability.
And there goes the Thought.
And now
Oh,
he
now
does mill
himself.
himself.
Okay.
Again, he put himself in a spot where he could get punished for doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't like his
It mills
sequencing.
everything, and there goes the path.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing into the path. You have to play into the path.
Yeah.
But, he could have 2 more cards in his yard, right?
Yeah.
He could have left something in his yard by Thought Scouring himself a second time. And all he hit for was, Wrath of God, which is counterable. You can counter Wrath of God.
Yeah. Nice.
3 mana from Chris. His hand is...
How does Chris' hand look like right now? You can see from there.
It's a little bit weak.
It's a-
Leyline of Sanctity.
Like, you really
Dimir
don't.
Charm.
You don't really want to draw
Island.
into Leyline and Sanctity either.
Fatal Push.
Yeah.
So, and a Blessed Alliance.
And Blessed
So
Alliance.
he has Blessed Alliance, Dimir Charm, Leyline Sanctity, Island, and Fatal Push. So 5 cards. It's a solid enough 5, but it's still going to be rough dealing with these big Delve threats.
Oscar actually has another Thought Scour and a Snapcaster in hand as well.
So this Thoughtseize is pretty big.
Yeah.
Thoughtseize is probably going to take the Blessed Alliance. Or
Does
if
he
he's
play
planning
the-
on Snap Thoughtseizing this turn, he's probably going to take the Fatal Push instead.
Should he play the Blessed Alliance now? Or no? In response?
To do what?
Gain life? Or make his opponent gain life?
I mean, that doesn't seem like it's going to get enough job done, right? He goes to 14, then he gets to just do it again.
Yeah, that's true.
Or I mean, not necessarily, right? But if Oscar has a 4th land, I like seeing a Snap Thoughtseize, depending on what you see from Chris's hand. So Chris is cashing in. It looks like the Dimir Charm.
Ooh.
Targeting who? Himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, counter
No,
target
no.
sorcery.
Yeah,
Counter target
yeah. It's
sorcery.
going to counter the...
In that
Thoughtseize.
case, if I'm hoping that Oscar has a land. If he has a land here, this Thoughtseize is a maximum punish.
Should he Thought Scour himself?
I'm not scarring myself here.
No.
He had a second Thoughtseize. I would have played the second Thoughtseize before Thought Scouring.
Yeah.
And in this spot, you're probably taking the Blessed Alliance over the Fatal Push.
And he's taking the Leyline.
I would not take the Leyline. If your opponent chooses to tap out next turn for the Leyline of the Void, I would call that a win.
Yeah.
It's not a spot where the Leyline's doing anything anymore.
I don't
You've
think-
cast your discard spells.
I don't think he's gonna take the Leyline. I think he's gonna go for the Blessed Alliance.
I'm saying Blessed Alliance or Fatal Push.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the Blessed Alliance. Blessed Alliance has a little bit more utility, but it also depends on whether or not Oscar has a way to protect a Death Shadow in his hand.
Oh, he's gonna take the push.
All right, that's fine. You're taking a removal spell here. I don't mind taking the push, either. Especially if Chris does not play the Leyline next turn, Oscar gets to Snap Thoughtseize and Thoughtseize away the Blessed Alliance. If Chris does play the Leyline, Oscar just gets to play Snap Thought Scour if he needs to.
Yeah.
Thought Scour himself. Which is what he should be doing anyways. Good guy Chris forcing Oscar to Thought Scour himself. And he's just hard casting.
There goes Leyline.
And I don't think, I would not mind. The bolt is fine. You're still bolting creatures.
Yeah.
Teferi is still a creature that you need to kill. Monastery Mentor is a creature you need to kill.
Yeah.
So yes, you can't
Oh,
bolt
young
face.
Peasy. And there goes
Yeah, so this is a good start.
He's gonna get a token, and Serum Vision draws a card and scries 2.
So especially because I didn't see the Young Peasy in his hand, but with the Young Peasy, it makes total sense that he's keeping his opponent with that copy of Blessed Alliance. Blessed Alliance just does not line up well against tokens. It says sacrifice a creature, so you just sacrifice a token. You don't really mind. Looks like it's a double scry to the bottom. Land off the top.
Ooh,
Chris's
basic.
hand is land, Blessed Alliance.
Yeah.
So not a very powerful hand here. And there are no mystical teachings in the bin, so there's not like Chris can generate card advantage this way. Vermac Angler drawn.
Yeah.
He might even contemplate bolting himself at some point.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, what if he goes for the bolt range? That way,
But,
you just
I'm-
be aggressive.
I definitely not considering that until I draw a Death Shadow. K-Command in hand as well. K-Command does not have very many useful modes here. There are no artifacts in play. You can't target your opponent for the shock. There are no creatures in your yard. So K-Command, not a spell that I'm looking at casting here. Ice Crown Scepter
Crown
is the
Scepter.
draw, so
He's gonna play it.
Chris making his dream come true.
Oh, nice.
Well, this is going to get K-Commanded.
Oh, he has the K command in hand.
Yeah, he does have the
Oh,
K-Command
okay.
in hand.
Then-
And there's going to be K-Command here.
Oh, he's gonna lightning bolt himself.
He definitely claimed to bolt Chris.
But he can't because of Leyline, correct?
Yes, you cannot legally bolt Chris.
Yeah. So he's gonna bolt himself. He's gonna go down to 7. Gonna get a token. Does he want to rush this really quick or?
I'm not sure how much time is left in the round. You definitely fire off the K-Command here.
Yeah. Which I think that's what we're gonna see right now. He has no cards in hand. Might as well.
It's a straight target artifact, and depending on your hand, you might make yourself discard, or you might do 2 damage to yourself. And he's going to do 2 damage. He's going to make himself discard. And we're going to see a Blessed Alliance to gain 4 life. Chris is going to go up to 17. And the discard was a Dismember, which I definitely don't mind discarding in this spot. Oscar's going to get another token. This is going to be attacked for 4. So Chris got a Fog, but he gave up his entire hand to do it.
Yeah. Well, let's see what he
And
draws.
it's a land.
Oh, it's a land now. This
you
is
definitely
not
don't
where
play it.
Chris wants to play a land.
Definitely don't play it.
Oh, he has Snap Bolt in hand.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can't go face. This is an attack for 5.
Yeah.
If you're going to Snap Bolt, you Snap Bolt targeting the Snap.
Yeah.
Or a token, actually, because it nets you 1 extra damage.
I see a Death Shadow.
I see a
think.
Thought Scour
Yeah.
in hand as well. So I'd like Death
Maybe
Shadow,
Death Shadow.
Thought Scour yourself.
I hope he does.
I actually like fetching and playing Snap. Or I don't.
Ooh.
Oh, it's not a Snap, it's a Grimmack.
It'd be funny if Chris rips a Wrath of God right now.
That's my problem. I don't like committing the extra creature here because
Wrath of God. Or,
you mill the Wrath of God, so you know
Yeah.
your opponent's playing them.
but if he hits a snap, he can actually.
You can actually cast it.
Yeah.
But the other big thing is you have lethal on the table with just the Death Shadow. You don't need to commit anything else. And it does not look like it is. So that's another land. Chris is going to lose, unfortunately. Oscar taking it 2 to 1. Chris's deck kind of failing him, right? Like, Game 1, it kind of did what it was supposed to do. He did lose a lot of his Ice Crown Scepters. He didn't really quite go the distance. But Game 2 and 3, Game 2 he struggled with lands, and he did make a mistake. But it wasn't like the mistake was necessarily going to win him the game, not making it. But then Game 3 he drew too many lands.
Yeah. And
so this what I'm thinking is this is the kind of deck that probably wants to play more cantrips than he's currently playing.
yeah, and we see right here what Chris brought in sideboard. He brought in 2 Sanks, 2 of Surgical, and 1 Blessed Alliance. What do you think about that?
The Surgical should not have come in.
No.
The Surgical should have been Rest in Peace if he's going to bring in any Graveyard Hate.
Yeah.
And the Blessed Alliance is good. The Blessed Alliance and the Sanctities are good Magic cards. They're going to get the job done, especially against these Thoughtseize decks. It's just, what is Surgical doing for you? What are you trying to Surgical Extraction? And for Chris, I don't think he had a good idea of what he was trying to hit.
Let's see what Oscar brought in: 2 Stubborn Denials, 2 Peasies, and 1 extra call against command.
And that all makes sense.
Yeah.
PZs are an extra threat. Like, you need to have more threats against these kind of decks. The path push decks, like, you just need to be able to put more pressure on your opponent, and playing more creatures is the way to do it. The third and fourth copies of Stubborn Nile, those are crucial. Your opponent's playing a lot of instants and sorceries. You want to be able to stop any of them from resolving. And the third K command probably, he probably has 2 in the main deck, and that's the third K command in the sideboard. It's good. You're looking to hit the Icecrown Sappers.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that is it for round number 1. Round 2 will start shortly. Stay tuned. Quick announcement. Do not forget about this Saturday's Modern Staples event here at Collector Legion. I will be here as well. Don't know if I'm playing. Probably not. Will, you going to play?
I'm not sure yet.
Why not?
I might even end up judging randomly. I don't know.
Oh, okay. If you're going to play, what will you play?
Amulet.
Amulet?
Amulet type.
How's that deck doing right now? You like it?
I mean, I rarely play best deck. I just play the decks that I think are funny. Amulet's reasonable. Like, it gets the job done.
Nice.
I've killed people on turn 3 on Mulls to 5. I've killed people on turn 2. Like, literally 20 damage on turn 2. The deck has ridiculous nut draws. But, you know, that's the price. That's what you do when you're willing to be cold to a blood moon.
Yeah.
So...
All right. Round 2's about to start, guys. We're going to go get the matchups for you. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Thank you, guys. We'll be back right now. All right, guys, welcome back, and we're gonna start in a bit. We have Jund Elves versus Jeskai Control. Carlo on the right playing Jeskai, and on the left we're playing a Jund Elves. Which looks pretty good on Jeskai side. Yeah.
Brian, right?
No, it's Brain.
Brain?
No, I'm horrible at spelling, dude. How you spell it? With that?
Yeah.
Okay.
My day.
Brain. All right. So, Carlo's on Jeskai. Tell me about that deck.
You misspelled Jeskai.
I always do. People already know. So you spell it right?
Yeah. So Carlo's playing Jeskai Control. This is the best control deck in standard or modern at the moment. Brian Magday is playing Jund Elves. It's elves. It does elves things.
Yeah.
But notably, he's playing a little bit of spice. He is playing things like Steel Leaf Champion, his version of elves. And he's playing a more aggressive turn elves sideways style of deck as opposed to the traditional combo style of elves. I don't recall him playing Court of Callings. I'm pretty sure he's playing Bloodbraid Elf. And he's probably playing some Shaman of the Pax as well.
He's playing Collector Company.
He is playing Company.
But
I know he's playing Bolts as well. So
yeah, and I think a Terminate, but sideboard.
So he is playing a slightly more aggressive version of elves. He is looking to turn creatures and cards sideways.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Carlo is doing his best to keep creatures off the board completely.
So pretty much Carlo has the advantage here.
Yes, Carlo is pretty favored in the matchup. If Brian is not playing cards like Lead the Stampede, 3 mana, look at top 5, add every creature.
Yeah.
Reveal any number of creatures and add those to your hand. It's going to be hard for him to recoup the card advantage that Carlo's going to get playing a sweeper. Unless, and importantly, Brian has access to Azuri and enough green mana
To regenerate
his board. Which could not be enough if Carlo is diversifying his sweepers, as a lot of control decks typically do these days, as a way to hedge against humans. It's not uncommon to see a Wrath of God over a Supreme Verdict. And Wrath of God conveniently says creatures cannot be regenerated.
Yeah. Carlos Cyborg looks really good.
So, Jeskai Control historically pretty heavily favored in this matchup.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
No, let's see you online.
Where you going?
Good feed.
Jeskai Control historically very favored in this matchup. Leyline, Bolts, Helixes, Paths, Electrolyzes, all powerful magic cards in this in this particular matchup. And on top of that, Wrath of God, Supreme Verdict.
Sorry, it's his nickname. Go ahead.
So, I'm liking Carlos Bot.
Yeah. Nice. Bring up Lead the Stampede. See if we see it here. Which I don't think last time we saw it.
I don't believe
Yeah.
Brian Magda is playing Lead the Stampede. That would in fact surprise me.
Let's see what else. And that's Lead the Stampede if he is going to play it.
Yeah, it did get a reprint in the Master Set, but it lets you look at the top 5 cards of your library and put any number of creatures from them into your hand, revealing them.
That card's been reprinted a lot of times.
Carlos' hand is land heavy, and he
Is
is only
Logic
on
Knot.
one removal spell plus a Logic Knot, but not a lot of fetches, so it's going to be hard for him to keep that Logic Knot fueled, especially against a deck generating as much mana as Jund Elves does. And we're going to see Carlo just lead on the turn 1 Serum Visions. Magday missing on his turn 1 mana dude.
Mm-hmm. You know, every time last time we saw Brian on here, he also misses. He kept missing his turn 1 elves.
Something tells me he's probably not playing as many turn 1 mana dwarfs
Yeah. He's actually running main board tournament 8.
as is typical.
Mm-hmm. And Carlo telling him to put your lands in the bottom.
Put your lands back there. Yeah.
Is he running a Jace? No, he's not running a Jace. Sorry.
Carlo's definitely playing a Teferi.
No, Brian. I think he's running a Nissa, or he
I-
has one of the Origins flip cards.
Yeah, he might be playing 3 mana Nissa. Nissa
Nissa's
Vastwood Seer.
Vastwood Seer, yes. I don't know why I
ETB, search for basic forests, put in your hand. If you have 7 or more lands when you play a land, flip it. And then typically is used to immediately make a 4/4, Ashaya the something spirit or whatever. It's an elemental. And it basically draws a card each turn. The plus basically draws a card each turn. So pretty good Planeswalker.
Ooh, there goes the land elves that you don't want to draw into.
Right on time.
Yeah.
Right on time. Turn 3. Brian has effectively cast 0 spells over the course of 3 turns. Not a place where you want to be in this particular matchup.
I think we might see the Vastwood Seer. But
Vastwood Seer is unlikely to resolve.
Yeah,
that is
he
a
is-
card I'd probably fire out the Logic Knot on
yeah.
when you have the opportunity to. You are likely fetching up Steam Vents here, and you're probably going to have to shock a second time. Mayday messing with Carlos' life total.
Oh,
Nope, that is a
Steel Leaf Champion.
So that I'm definitely just firing off the Logic Knot on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to burn two removal spells to hit it. And I like keeping the Seer Visions in the graveyard.
Let's see.
Yeah, likely to be a fetch shock here for Steam Vents, so that he can start casting the red spells in his hand.
Steel Leaf Champion. The new card people are starting to run. A lot in standard. Do you like it in modern or no?
No, I don't think it's any good in modern.
Nah.
I don't really want to be playing big dumb beaters in modern. And I'm the guy casting Primeval Titans.
I go Steel Leaf Champion.
Yeah. So it's a large elf, like it's a 5/4. But the thing is, like, modern's not really a format where just being bigger than your opponent's creatures means that you're winning.
Yeah.
It's a format where you also need to be doing something.
Can you see this? Can you see this in a mono green Stompy deck in modern or not?
Yeah, it's better than Leatherback Bailoff in mono green Stompy, but I don't think mono green Stompy has been a particularly viable deck.
Yeah. This is Jun Elves.
This is actually Elves. He is playing the full suite of Elves. He's playing his Elvish champions. I'm pretty sure he's playing Elvish champion. He's playing Elvish Archdruid. He's playing Azuri. He's playing Steel Leaf champion. He's playing.
I don't think he's playing the Heritage Druid. I don't know. I don't think so.
He is
Ooh, he has-
playing Dwin's Elite.
Dwin's Elite, yeah.
So he's playing the full suite of Elves. He drew a Terminate. That card is very poor in this matchup. And this Nissa is going to find him a forest, but it's also going to find him a bolt to the Nissa.
Yep. They said that it's
Unfortunately, he missed on turn 1 Mana Elf in a deck that's probably playing like 12 of them.
and he has 2 of them in his hand. He has an Elvish Mystic and Landwar Elf in hand.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see another Elf being deployed this turn.
Yeah.
On top of the Nissa. But, again, like, there's not much you can do with Elves in this spot necessarily.
Elvish Mystic goes down. He's gonna bolt the Nissa.
Yep, Bolt the Vastwoods here. Has the Helix in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Lodgenaut also in hand. I'm definitely just playing the fetch land here.
And Carlo, known for playing a lot of counter decks, he likes it.
Yes, Carlo is your prototypical blue mage. He likes playing blue spells. Brian looking a bit flooded though.
One day elves could beat humans. I think.
Elves is actually
Yeah.
favored against humans.
Yeah, I think
Elves is a deck that's favored against humans.
Yeah.
If you're playing the black green elves, you don't even have to use a combat step. You play a lot of creatures. You are a little bit soft to Mantis Riders, but that's basically the only creature in their deck that's any good against you, other than the occasional blowout with Reflector Mage off file. And you have enough blockers to just deal with your opponent's creatures. So I would not. I'm not saying the elves matchup is not bad.
How about with the green-white version with the Devoted Druid and like one Visir?
The green-white version's a little bit worse than the green-black version against humans.
Mm-hmm.
The green-white version might be better against the field, just because you have those random combo kills.
Yeah.
And not like having the combo kill means that you'll steal games where you're normally weak. Decks like Storm, for instance, are very hard for elves to
Elves,
reliably beat because you're not a fast enough deck for that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Elves is favored against humans.
Yeah.
Not like by so much that you can say that like humans can't win the matchup, but that can be said about basically every matchup for humans in modern. Humans doesn't have any unwinnable matchup really. The worst matchup probably being like Mardu Pyromancer.
Yeah.
But even that matchup, you can steal games, and it's not unreasonable to expect that to happen. And it's one of the reasons why humans is considered the best deck in modern.
And he's gonna play a Shaman of the Pack. He's gonna take 3.
I am responding to that.
He's
Shaman
he's
pack.
gonna respond to
You're
it.
responding by helixing the Shaman in the pack.
Ooh.
So
nice.
he's gonna actually gain 1
3.
life.
Oh wait. Yeah, he'll gain 1.
He'll net gain 1 life and then take 2 damage.
Yeah.
So he's only lost 1 life on the turn.
And he's swinging. He's gonna take
And unfortunately, Brian again has that Terminate in hand. The Terminate just
his
doesn't do
dead
anything.
card. Do you think Terminate would be better if it's sideboard?
It depends on what he has it there for, right?
Yeah.
He's playing it as a way to interact with creature decks, and in that case, yeah, keep the Terminate in your deck. Looks like we're shocking
Yeah.
down to 15.
And Snap Serum Visions. Ooh.
Just looking to draw a card, try to find some. Probably looking to find a Search for his concept, try to lock up the game this way.
Question: are we going to see a Teferi Ultimate? Oh, he's going to terminate. I guess he just.
I mean,
wants to use
you
it?
let it die.
Yeah.
The clock here from Brian is unremarkable.
Yeah. As soon as Carlo hits more than 4 lands, I think it's just he just starts taking advantage.
3 mana,
Yeah.
and this is going to get countered. There's only 4 mana available, so this is going to be a Logic Knot for 5.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not a lot of cards left in the graveyard for Carlo, just the Helix and the Bolt.
Ooh, Dwayne's Elite. Dwayne's Elite.
That's going to resolve.
Yeah.
And there's not a big.
I mean, Carlo.
that.
Next turn, Carlo could have a Supreme Verdict and just.
Yeah, Supreme Verdict ends the game in this spot if he draws it. We did see a Scry to the top, so we don't know.
Oh, Cryptic
It's
Command. Nice.
Yeah.
You could tap his creatures.
I think you're just taking the 6 here. Or 5. Right?
Yeah, true.
It's not enough of a clock. You still have 3 turns to deal with this board.
You can always hold the Cryptic Command for like a collected
And
company.
I dislike Brian playing his creature pre-combat. So this means that Carlo just gets to counter draw completely safely.
Yeah. Yeah, this is bad.
I don't like playing out the Nissa pre-combat.
I guess he's gonna check too. I mean, I don't.
Because if you go to combat, you can maybe bait your opponent to tapping your team down.
Is Nissa a threat here?
Yeah, Nissa is threatening enough. What Nissa demands
I'll look her up quick.
is that you deal with her, or you are going to get run over by card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It does draw a card functionally every turn once it flips. It draws a card functionally when it enters, and it's going to be counter tap, it looks like, which is a surprising choice of modes for Carlo. I would have figured he draws and just takes the 5 here. I don't feel like 5 damage is enough to really be threatening Carlo's total life total here. But regardless, he goes for the counter tap. And he puts himself down quite a bit of cards. Carlo does have the ability to activate his Colonnade, block, and path, but again, you run afoul if Brian does have like a fatal push in hand, or even a bolt to an extent. Resolves. Block, 2 damage. He did draw the bolt for the turn. It's going to be 3 damage to Carlo's face. 2 damage to Carlo's face? Probably 2, right? Like, you just have to path. Yeah, he's going to path. And fetch. So, down to 8. No, that was the right Nissa you had up.
Which one?
The flip Nissa.
Oh, I know. I'm going to show them what it does in front because people, so people can see.
So this is the front side of Nissa Vastwood Seer. It's a 3-mana bear that serves the forest. Got the 7th land to play. When you play the 7th land, 7th or later land, it flips. And it flips to Nissa... I can't remember the name of it.
Vastwood.
No, Nissa Vastwood Seer is the front
Nissa... Hold on. Here it is.
side. Ooh, Helix. So it's going to be...
Nissa Sage Animus.
Sage Animus. Typically the first thing you do is make it 4/4. That's not unreasonable. And then you typically just draw cards for the rest of the game. And if you get to ultimate, like Swift, you get to ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
Carl taking a little bit of extra damage here. Is that a land? It is a land. Not a lot of point in holding onto lands in this deck. You're not playing Jace, so there's no value doing that. Bloodbraid Elf. This could...
Oh,
Company.
Collected Company. Ooh. Nice.
Hitting a copy of... So, again... Brian knows that Carlo's out of cards. So, Company...
Double Archdruid or a double Shaman of the Pack is pretty
Shaman.
good. Ooh.
And that's the only creature. So, it's
Yeah,
going to
'cause
only be a drain for 3.
It was like 2 lands
It's going
and
to put Carlo down to 2. So, Carlo needs to find a sweeper.
it was like a bunch of removal spells and a Shaman of the Pack.
And
Oh,
another one.
man. And Brian gets this one.
So, Brian gets there. Carlo did not draw a sweeper. And I feel like Carlo gave up a little bit of equity not drawing the card when he had the opportunity to. And it felt like he was a little bit strapped for resources. He did flood out a bit, but that's going to happen sometimes when you're playing a 24-25 lane deck. Post-board does get better for Carlo, I think, more than it gets better for Brian.
Brings engineering explosives.
More removal.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of good options for the post-board games.
So do you think Carlo's going to bring in Settle the Wreckage or?
I'd bring in Settle. Settle, importantly, is a way to get around the regeneration on your sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
And Elves is typically making bigger attacks than most decks. So, like, you're kind of pricing the settling pretty early.
So I saw right now Brian took out the Terminate.
Yeah, that card is definitely
It's dead.
Not doing anything in this
It's a dead
matchup.
card. In this matchup. Oh, he does have Court of Calling. He does have Company. And he has Bloodbraid.
So I feel like to an extent he might be playing too many non-creature spells then. If he's playing all of that.
And that's why his Company came out bad.
Yeah. It
Came out.
For Company to be good in your deck, you typically need about 28 creatures in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
And in his case, he's probably playing about 20, 22 lands. And it looks like he's playing at least 10 non-creature spells. But 2 to 4 of his creatures are probably Bloodbraid Elf.
Mm-hmm.
So he's looking at like the not the greatest companies when you also consider the fact that like 1-mana mana dorks are not really what you're looking to hit either.
I don't know if he's running Bloodbraids though. Let's see. Cord, Elvish.
It's possible he's playing Company instead of Bloodbraid, and then that would make more sense.
Yeah. But I still don't like a bunch of removal in there if you're playing Cord and Company. Let's see. Shaman, Elvish Visionary, Steel Leaf Champion, Bolt.
Oh, he also has running bolt and terminate and push. It's a lot of removal, don't you think? Oh, let me go out there and fix that for them.
So just some more sideboarding. Nothing too exciting going on here. So we see the opening sevens coming out from both players. Looks decent for Brian. Tap land coming out for Carlo. No turn one play. Pretty land heavy. Has two removal spells in his hand though, with the Bolt and the Path to Exile. But the rest of his hand is lands and a singleton copy of a Field of Ruin. It looks like a land off the top as well. So Carlo looking to try to draw some gas at the moment. Once again, Brian missing on a turn one play, but he is going to follow up
Elvish Visionary.
Elvish Visionary, which draws a card. So it's not like if it gets bolted, nothing happened at all. So unlikely that Carlo's going to bolt it. Search for Escanta the draw, though, and that is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to let him put on some pressure. I don't like tapping out for the Search for Escanta. I think I just play the fetch land and be able to bolt a potential turn 3 play. Turn 3 is when 3 mana is when a lot of elves get their biggest spike in power. You get your...
Is he going to play the Nissa here, or does he... He has a Nissa.
I see it.
And he has a Steel Leaf Champion. Would you go with the Steel Leaf Champion?
Can't play the Steel Leaf Champion. He has a mountain.
Oh, he does have a mountain.
This is where he's getting punished for not playing out the Stomping Ground last turn. Not giving himself the ability to play triple green for his spell. But it's going to be a Dwindling. And this is one of the other things. Carlo does get punished for not having the Bolt now. The Dwindling trigger on the stack, if you bolt the Visionary, he only has the 2/1. So Carlo could have put himself in a better spot.
Oh, Supreme Verdict.
I guess drawing Supreme Verdict gets the job done as well.
So does he use a Supreme Verdict, or does he let Brian's board get
you
beefy?
have 2 pieces of spot removal in your hand. At the moment, I'm inclined to just let Brian have the board, deal with it with your spot removal. Importantly, using the spot removal means that you're going to get closer to finishing flipping your Search for Escanta, which is something you want to be flipping as early as possible. And it means that he's going to be able to start getting the extra card advantage.
Yeah.
One of the things that you saw last game was that Carlo ran out of gas. And Search for Escanta would have been one of the cards to fix that problem.
And it was a...
I don't like playing out the Steam Vents this turn either. Playing out the Field of Ruin is another way to, again, get the extra card into your yard.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you feel the ruin a potential overgrown tomb, for instance. Although he probably has the basic swamp in his list, Brian.
Yeah.
But it still lets you cast both removal spells in your hand. You still can cast the Bolt and the Path.
So there's no Bloodbraid Elf in Brian's Jun Elves.
No, it doesn't look like he's actually playing Bloodbraid Elf.
Do you think Bloodbraid Elf changed elves a little bit or no?
No.
No.
I think overall the company core variants are a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
Elves is not really a turn 'em sideways deck. So the version that Brian's playing with the Seal Leaf Champion, for instance, is a little bit strange because again, you're not playing a turn it sideways.
Yeah. Instead of Steel Leaf Champion, what would you have? Instead of Steel Leaf Champion, probably a Elvish Champion, right?
Elvish Champion if you want like the extra Lord, but I don't think you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at playing more copies of Visionary, Shaman, Dwynen's Elite, Cord, Company, things that synergize with your main gameplay.
Mm-hmm. And he's gonna swing for 4.
Yeah, and I think as Carlo, you're okay with taking this 4. I would almost been inclined to
Go
fire
down
off,
to 15.
fire off the Bolt though, just to try to bait Brian to committing harder.
There you go.
Yeah, gonna get the basic forest.
He needs the forest too.
One thing I don't like about Brian's play is that he played out the land first.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, well, he could be playing around Logic Knot, but feels weak. I like
Ooh,
the fairy's a pretty big draw here, but he can't. Carlo cannot reasonably protect it.
No, he's gonna Supreme Verdict.
And I do think Supreme Verdicting on this board is the correct play. The issue with playing the Teferi out is that you get to Teferi, untap 2 lands, but then you have to Bolt and Path the 2 power creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Right?
Yeah.
So I like the Supreme Verdict this turn. I would have liked... so I'm wondering what's going to be coming up next.
I think... what did he tap for?
That 4 shouldn't be in play. Should it?
Yeah, because he casted Nissa.
Did I miss a... Did he... if he didn't miss a land drop, then it's fine. I'm not sure if Brian missed a land drop.
Let's see.
No, because that puts him ahead on lands. That 4 should be in his hand. Nissa Vast puts your tutors the forest into your hand.
Yeah, into your hand, right?
So that 4 should be in Brian's hand.
Then we should go tell him. What you judge?
Oh.
Just go. If you want. Before you play something. Go. You're good. Yeah, so we're going to go and I'm going to send Will out there to go do it. Get a little laps in. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it'll be too OP if Nissa's force just goes in there. Goes into the battlefield. And, yep, there you go. So that was it, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah, just the basic force that was the extra force in play should have been in his hand.
Yeah. He was just explaining it. Thank you, Cox. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, not a big deal. Second Nissa, gonna play the basic force anyways. Still 2 lands away from being able to flip it. Although this Nissa is probably eating a Bolt.
Yeah.
Bolt in response.
Yeah.
And no elf.
No elf. Fast turn.
Look at the top card. This is a good spot for the Teferi. It's a land. Don't need that. Logic Knot. That's pretty good.
And there it is, Teferi.
It does put Brian or Carlo pretty far from flipping his search if he has to cast it. But the Teferi is going to start pulling him ahead, even if he can't flip the search.
What do you think about Teferi?
Good magic card. Gets the job done, as it were. Importantly, Teferi, like Blue White Control is a deck, or Jeskai 2 is a 1-for-1 deck. So once you run out of 1-for-1s, you got to figure out a way to pull ahead. And Planeswalkers and Search for Esconta are the way to do that. Start drawing 2 or 3 cards a turn, so that your 1-for-1s still line up to your opponent's 1 threat.
And there goes Teferi.
We see a
For the
6
viewers.
mana spell. Oh, what is this? It's a Hydra.
Oh, it's the Hydra that comes in those decks. For each, it's an X1. I'll
It's
bring
getting
it up.
Path though. unfortunately. And it looks like it's uncounterable as well. Miscutter Hydra?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, Miscutter Hydra.
Ooh, on the money. I got this.
Nice.
Scry.
Bring up Miscutter Hydra for you guys. I haven't seen that card.
Yep. Enters with X counters, where X is the amount of mana played. Haste, Pro Blue, can't be countered. Pro Blue, not a very powerful keyword. Just because there aren't very many blue things to target.
Yeah.
Can't be countered is basically Pro Blue in most formats.
Yeah.
I guess it can't be blocked by a Snapcaster Mage, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you're blocked with the Snapcaster Mages, you're not, not casting it for that much then.
Engineering Explosives in hand. See 3 mana.
And there's a Steel Leaf Champion. Do you Logic Knot or no?
I think I let that resolve.
Yeah, because you can take care of it.
I'm firing off this Field of Ruin here. Just hitting, a land.
Yeah.
Untapping, plussing to Fairy, playing Engineer Explosives on 3 and passing the turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the sequence here. Land enters untapped. Enters untapped.
Would you think that Brian would want to bring in like hand destruction like Thoughtseize or
No,
Inquisition?
I don't think this is a matchup where you're trying to win by 1-for-1 of your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And you might even Teferi minus in this spot as well. Nope, just plussing again. Teferi threatening ultimate in a couple turns. Lands in hand. Looks like all the lands were just all the draws were lands. Yeah, Engineer Explosives on 3. Untap your 2 lands. Play another land. Hold up a huge Logic Knot without having to use your graveyard, and still hold up the activation as well for your Engineered Explosives.
Nice.
So this is going to be a good sequence for Carlo. This is a Logic Knot for 5, so any 3 mana spell gets countered.
It's so good.
By default.
The +1 to Fairy, you get to untap 2 lands.
Yeah. Yeah, Teferi has a very powerful effect. And I'm feeling like I don't know where the damage is going. So Brian says attacking upstairs.
And he's gonna pop.
Yeah, and I think he just popped the Engineered Explosives.
Yeah, I think it's only the Steel Leaf.
Delete in play, so it just kills the Steel Leaf champion, but it saves Carlo 5 life, albeit for 5 mana. Not the cheapest price.
He's gonna throw down another Steel Leaf champion.
I think you let that resolve.
Yeah. Well,
with Teferi, I think you let that resolve. You want to flip your Search for Its Conflict here. And casting this Logic Knot means that you can't.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And Carlo disagrees. Carlo is going to counter the Steel Leaf champion. If Carlo was planning on casting a counterspell, I would have liked playing out the Flooded Strand instead of the basic planes, because it still lets you get a flip here. But Carlo unfortunately got a miss on that opportunity. He's going to draw a card though, like we saw on top. And it was a Helix. Helix is a good draw here. You might main phase the Helix just to get the untapped lands as well. Supreme Verdict is off the top from the Teferi Plus. So this is looking like this game is going to be going Carlo's way.
Yeah.
Carlo going back up to 12, going to be able to play a land, going to be able to untap the 2, and Teferi Ultimate in a turn 2. Flip his Search for Escanta. Still have a copy of... flip the Search for Escanta. Still have the Supreme Verdict in his hand. Carlo looking to actually get in for some damage here.
He's going to go to 9.
So he's fetch shocking. Yeah, and Carlo is looking
Celestial
to get a little
Colonnade.
bit frisky.
Activating it. Swing in.
And Brian takes it. Goes to 14. And it's turn, untap 2 lands. Have Cryptic mana up. This is going to be real tough for Brian to get past, especially with the Search flipping next turn and being able to activate that twice a turn. Or twice a cycle, rather. Yes. New Teferi is much, much better than Jason Mize Coulter, especially in this deck. The fact that you get to untap 2 lands in this kind of strategy is enormous. When all of your removal spells cost 1 or 2 mana and are instant speed, it lets you tap out on your turn to do something and still hold up removal on your opponent's turn.
Yes.
It's the same thing for using cards like Supreme Verdict, your Celestial Colonnades, your other big sorcery spells. Your Logic Knot is another huge reason for new Teferi being better than Chase. And importantly, Teferi always has the ability to just -3 and remove a permanent from play, basically.
We saw an Ultimate Teferi today.
It is going to be a collected
Nice.
company coming out from Brian, though. Last card he drew for the turn. We'll see what he hits. Court of Calling, Elvish Archdruid, Dwynen's Elite. So he's going to get
Mistcutter Hydra is not that good.
he's going to be able to get some power on the board here.
Yeah.
Mistcutter Hydra, definitely not a card you're looking to hit
Yeah.
off of that. With
Ooh,
the
trigger on
Dwynen's
the
Elite
stack.
trigger on the
Yeah.
stack, unfortunately. So he's just stuck with the 1/2/1 now.
No more basics.
And Brian is out of basic lands. And with the draw step, he's going to be able to exile the Dwynen's Elite in play as well. So Brian's going to be left with no creatures, no cards in hand, and Carlos looking at drawing 2 functional cards a turn.
And he's gonna lose. And the permanents.
I'm not even casting that Serum Visions. You don't need to yet.
You just swing with the.
I'm
Celestial
animating and getting
Colonnades? Yeah. We're gonna see a game number 2.
The reason why I don't like casting the Serum Visions here is that if Brian does manage to draw another company, you want to be able to exile both creatures in one turn, and you just don't get to do that when you're playing. When you play the Serum Visions out like this.
Honestly, I was Brian right now, I think I'd try to go to game number 3.
Depends on how much time is in the round. If there's plenty of time in the round, you get to see more of your opponent's deck. You can figure out more about what's going on. You can
Makes sense.
try to get a better game 3. But if time is short, he might want to just concede.
Yeah. And
But Carlo has a reasonable clock here.
mm-hmm.
This is going to end the game fairly quickly. And it looks like Carlo's going to even be able to hold up the Search First Contact activation while getting in for 4, putting Brian
He's
at
a 4. He's gonna go to 6.
To 5.
Pass it 5.
So this is going to kill him in 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 turn if Carlo finds a bolt off of his Search
Yeah.
First Contact activation. It was double scry to the bottom. Mad Day passing.
Logic Knot gets rid of his Blood Crypt.
Drawing for turn. He drew a Cryptic Command. That's
Swings
what he
in
got
for
at the top,
1.
Puts him down to 1.
Does he have a? And
That should be it.
yeah, that will do it. We're gonna go on to game number 2 now.
3.
3, sorry. All right, game number 3. So with Brian on to play, you want him to have a turn 1 elf.
Yeah, ideally Brian's looking to play a turn 1 elf every game. He wants to be playing his 3 drops ahead of schedule. He wants to be able to play turn 2 Archdruid. He wants to play turn 2 Azuri. He wants to play turn 2 Steel Leaf Champion. Because those are the cards that apply the most pressure to Carlo. And importantly, Steel Leaf Champion is a 5/4. Although he's not the best card against control decks, he is hard to kill for Jeskai. As the only removal spell that Jeskai has, spot removal, is Path to Exile that can hit it.
Yeah. Bolt. Oh wait.
It's a 5/4.
Oh, sorry, Steel Leaf Champion. Sorry.
So that's significant. It's
Yeah.
difficult for Carlo to always have a Path to Exile for the Steel Leaf Champion. So I not the biggest fan of Steel Leaf in the game in this matchup because it doesn't necessarily apply enough damage before your opponent can find their way out of it. But typically with elves, you want to flood the board and hopefully kill your opponent before they find a sweeper.
Yeah.
But it's going to get the job done. And this matchup is hard. This matchup is going to be hard for Brian. Carlo was able to find Search First Conta, which kept the gas flowing this game as opposed to drawing just infinite land. Found him 2 sweepers, found him a Teferi, and the Teferi found him more gas.
Yeah.
So the cards synergize well together.
I think Brian wants to have like a good starting off hand, but then at the same time, it's like if you throw everything on the board, it's
Yeah, you run the risk of getting blown up by a sweeper.
yeah. Which one of these decks do you like? Would you play?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd probably play elves before I play Jeskai Control.
You were playing elves at one point, right?
Yeah, I played Green White Elves for a little bit.
Green White Elves. Yeah, I love that deck. It's a good deck.
I mean, like I own most of the expensive cards. Like I just need to buy the elves, and the elves aren't particularly expensive.
Yeah, and they're
Like $3
Cents, yeah.
max. Like Azuri's like $3, and that's like the most expensive card in the deck
Yeah.
that I didn't already own.
all right. So here we go. Let's see what he drew.
Ooh, no land. I don't think no land. Oh yeah, he
I
has
see a
one
Wooded
land.
Foothills.
Yeah, he has a Wooded Foothills, and he has a turn 1 elf. So we're gonna see a turn 1 elf.
This game could be over very quickly. Carlo does have the bolt in hand and the red source.
Oh, okay.
He has double bolt. So
Yeah.
This game could just be over. Shock, bolt your
Bolt.
dude, bolt the bird.
Both players are at 17 land.
Carlo's at 18.
Oh,
He just shot.
yeah, 18. There you go. He just saw that too.
And unless there's a second land for Brian, this game could be very over.
And we're gonna see a Celestial Colony.
It's another 1-mana elf,
Oh, okay.
but that's also gonna get bolted and pass.
Oh, he's stuck on a 1-lander. Jeez,
And
yeah.
second bolt. Brian needs to draw land here.
Oh man, and there goes the
He
land, the
does find a land.
bloodstain.
So
But
he's
his,
gonna be able to fetch and cast the Elvish Visionary.
he has an Inquisition in hand.
So it looks like he's playing just another 1-mana elf,
Okay.
and then it looks like he's gonna be going into the Inquisition as a follow-up.
Oof. I don't think.
I think I'm just fetch shocking. I'm not sure why Brian's going out of his ways to find the basics, especially when he knows that Carlo plays Path to Exile and Field of Ruin. Like, those basics in your deck are a resource.
Yeah.
They're things to fetch up when your opponent tries to interact.
And not just that, you also have Steel Leaf Champion. You gotta think about, like, you gotta have to mana curve out.
So it looks like Brian did
Oh,
bring in the
Thoughtseize,
discard,
sorry.
but he's going to go for the Thoughtseize.
Baneslayer Angel.
That card is a little bit far off. I'm not looking at taking that.
I think you take the Cryptic Command, right?
It's the Cryptic or the Serum Visions.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Carl has all the lands that he needs, so I'm probably just taking the Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command, yeah.
Next turn, Carlo's next turn looks kind of weak. It's going to just be Serum Visions, and hopefully he draws something good off the top. So this is a window.
Is that Inquisition? It is, right?
Yeah, he
So
does have Inquisition, Visionary, and Nissa Vasquez with Seer in hand.
So next
but
turn,
still no third land.
yeah, next turn Carlos could play Serum Visions,
Serum Visions. If he
And
draws
then-
a removal spell, he's in a good spot. If he misses on the removal spell, it's a little bit rough.
and then Brian can Inquisition and see if he can take something.
And one of the issues again with fetching the swamp here
Yeah.
instead of like an overgrown tomb. Well, I guess it's not an issue because he has to tap it. But like if he draws Steel Leaf Champion, he's gonna feel really silly about fetching the swamp,
Yeah.
especially because his life total doesn't really matter. Carlo will win the game eventually, but
Wow. The Baneslayer Angel.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one.
Carlo draws Snapcaster Mage, so things are dying.
Yeah.
Yep. Bolt the bird.
Man.
Brian doing a quick shrug.
Oh.
Oh, drew the third land. Yeah, I'm definitely just jamming the Nissa on this spot. You just need to find action, and hopefully you just in this spot now you're not too sad about drawing lands. The issue is Cryptic Command mana now up, and that's going to kind of parade over you for the rest of the game until you force him to cast it.
And let's see what he draws.
So I'm looking to see just casting the Visionary anyways. Like that's not a card you're too concerned about getting cryptic.
Inquisition. Cryptic. Why? Oh.
Inquisition cannot take Cryptic Command. That
No.
surprises me. Drew's Fairy though, so that's a huge draw. But I'm surprised that he
Do you think Carlo had something?
no.
No, right? I would have let that resolve. Or
Yeah. I mean, like it lets Brian get the Serum Visions,
Yeah.
I guess, but I just don't care. Fetch, play to Fairy.
and then it just begins.
Yeah, you plus draw a card. You have a blocker for the Nissa if it wants to attack. If it's just the Elvish Visionary, you just let Teferi take the one. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal. Yep. Slam it. Untap, Steam Vents and the Celestial Colonnade leaves you with blue, and red-white so that you can cast any spell that you draw in your deck that at instant speed besides Cryptic. Draws the
Ooh,
Helix.
Lightning Helix. He's gonna untap that. That's perfect.
So he's going to play around
he has a
everything here.
he has a blocker and he can get rid of the Nissa.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And even if Brian could flip it, he's still 2 lands away from being able to
Yeah.
do so it's not like it's coming up soon. End of turn, we're going to see a Helix on the Nissa. It's going to put Carlo back at the 20.
Oh, cord
Yeah, this looks like a cord.
for 3.
Yeah, it's going to be able to get Azuri. And then he's going to be able to regenerate the Nissa.
Yeah, nice.
So that's pretty good. Big game.
Mhm.
Steely Champion?
No,
Are there no Azuris in this deck? No, he's just replacing his Nissa with
I don't think he
Nissa.
runs Azuri.
It doesn't look like he's running
Huh.
Azuri.
No elf deck with no Azuri. I don't know.
Azuri is like one of the
Yeah.
real payoffs for playing this kind of strategy.
Yeah, no Azuri. Okay.
That That surprises me.
Yeah, I think is he just trying to play the Nissa? Like,
Oh, snap helix. Easy game.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm definitely just snap helixing.
I mean, the Elvis
can see
Visionary's in. I mean, I really don't think you that worried about it.
No, the Elvish Visionary was tapped for the cord.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Lightning Helix, the
I think you just snap helix.
I mean, not Lightning Helix.
Oh, Carlos should have been down 3
Electrolyze.
more life because the helix didn't resolve because of the cord for a second. Nissa.
Yeah.
So
Oh, because they had the legendary rule, right?
so he can snap helix and hold up electrolyze. So I'm not a fan of his sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It also lets him pretend and bluff a cryptic command. So
And there goes the Dwayne's Elite. I mean, he can let it resolve, and then he can electrolyze.
yeah, but you see, like if he did go for the snap here, the electrolyze would have been fine, right? Like the electrolyze cleans up the board.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't. So yeah.
Oh, 2 damage to the Nissa.
That's fine. You definitely need to clear the Nissa anyways. So Carlo might untap and snap Electrolyze on his main phase. That looks like a Path Exile. I mean, I guess.
I think he just wants to end this one really quick. And now he's gonna draw. Let's see what he draws into.
Didn't get a good look. Draw from Teferi.
Ooh, another
And
search.
a land. So he's going to go ahead and play out the search. That's free.
Mm-hmm.
With the Teferi untap effect, it's completely free.
Jeez.
Then he gets a hold up snap cryptic. I guess that's the reason to not play it. You can hold up snap cryptic, but I'm just not a fan.
Oh, that's so good.
Play the Serum Visions out this turn too. Might as well.
Yeah.
And I go Serum Visions, draws a card. Let's see what he draws into. Is that a land?
No, it looked like a blue spell. Yep, untapping 2 lands from Teferi. It's going to let Carlo hold up, snap into something. It looks like he just drew into a Serum Visions.
I go Stomping Ground. He's going to take 2, go to 14.
Not sure why he's shocking now.
Oh, is he going to cord?
Well, he's about to get blown out.
Yeah. Oh, Miscutter
Hydra.
Hydra.
Well, he's still getting blown out. I mean, there's still a Snapcaster Mage and a Path Exile in the bin.
He has haste, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it does have haste. Still up.
Snap
Path.
Path. If you would have went for the cryptic command, it wouldn't work, right? We try to bounce it or anything.
Yeah, you can't bounce it.
Protection from blue.
Search is gonna flip.
Ooh, he's out of basics. Search will flip. Oh, I don't think he wants to flip it. Well, maybe it all depends, right?
You're definitely flipping.
Yeah.
it.
Oh, now he's gonna flip.
Leave it on
Nice.
top. Looks like it's some sort of removal spell.
He's gonna
elf
plus.
should be dead. They traded. Logic Knot draws into a Path Exile. Activate Search for his Kanta. Look at the top and then untap the Search for his Kanta. Take this Electrolyze.
Electrolyze, yeah.
And then untap the Search for his Kanta and pass the turn back.
Yeah. Carlo has his wrapped up.
Yeah, Carlo's drawing 3 to 4 cards a turn at this point. Carlo had 1 card in hand. Now he has 3, and he still has a Search for his Kanta activation available to him. So it's very unlikely that Brian's going to be able to deal 4 cards in hand. He drew 3 cards just in the beginning of the turn. Activate Search again, up to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Serum Visions, at least he hit something.
Nice. Serum Vision's pretty good.
He's about to ultimate Teferi, so
That's really good.
that's going to make his Serum Visions a little bit better. Draw for turn.
He's gonna get rid of something, right?
I'm inclined to just ult Teferi in the spot.
Yeah.
Play both Serum Visions, start exiling lands.
We're joking around there between the guys.
Yeah, I think you just ult.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna do.
Get the emblem. Cast a Serum Visions, exile the Swamp and the Overgrown Tomb.
There it is.
Oh, no, he's going for the red first. And then cast another Serum Visions.
There's gets rid of the black.
He just drew 2 cards and scryed 4.
Yeah. And he's actually going to be able to play a Helix too if he wants to. Or another Electrolyze to draw another card and exile another land.
A Shaman for 1.
No, it's going to be a Shaman for 0.
Oh yeah, he can Cryptic Command it, yeah.
No. You're just casting. Oh, no, he's just taking the 1.
And Electrolyze it. To draw, to get rid of his, okay.
No, because you could have electrolyzed it and then exiled the land. But he electrolyzed face and then exiled it with. And then he's helixing face. Sure. I mean, he does need to win the game sometime. That's a bolt.
Man. Teferi.
He's a little bit short from lethal here.
Yeah.
Attack with it, and then bolt puts him down to.
Elvish.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have that. Bolt face.
I think Brian's had enough here.
Activate Surge. Looking for another bolt. That's a fairy, I guess.
No, it's a fairy. Okay, start drawing.
Yeah, gotta get the perfect game.
Yeah. And
Exile permanent.
floats the mana, but it goes away. And here comes Teferi. Oh no. Wait, Hall
No,
Fountain.
he's just. I would just attack. Unless he's trying to be cute. Sure.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
And he's in a +1 draw. Get rid of his. Is he trying to?
Why is he hitting the fetch?
He's trying to make him sack it.
Sure.
I think Carlos just. Oh man. Passes over to Brian. We wonder what Brian's gonna draw. A Blood Crypt.
It's a land.
He goes to 2. Goes to 1. I think he just swings in with Celestial
I
Colonnade.
mean, yeah, Colin is just lethal.
Or is it a bolt?
Sphinx.
Sphinx Revelation.
Okay. Carlo not fucking around any longer.
Yeah.
He's just going to end the game. Although he got Sphinx's Revelation to clear up the board.
Wow.
Carlo takes it 2-1 over Brian with Jeskai Control over Jund Elves. Jeskai Control I do think is favored, and it definitely showed more in the games 2 and 3 when Carlo was drawing his sweepers.
Mm-hmm. What did Carlo bring in? Are we gonna see what he put?
He brought in the Engineered Explosives for sure. He probably brought an extra sweeper if he had it. But beyond that, I can't really think of much. Like, his deck is pretty well equipped to fight this matchup, like pre-board. Not so good that you just you ship back the same 75 or 60, but probably 58. Like, you're probably not changing more than 2 or 3 cards max here. So, good match for Carlo. Carlo should be going 2-0 at the moment.
It's gonna be a top seed, I think. Yeah.
So, we will be back with round 3, I guess.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Oh, well, a quick announcement. Don't forget, this Saturday we're going to have our Modern Staples event here at Collector Illusion. Starts at 1 p.m. Also, guys, we have FNM on Friday. We have Standard, we have Modern, and we have Draft. So make sure you guys come on down to Collector Legion. We're always here for you guys. Anything you guys need, any cards you need, we can try and get them for you guys. Give us a like, subscribe to us. Thank Grim when you see him. We did this for you guys. So we'll be back right now for round number 3. Stick around. So what's up, guys? We're back at round number 3 here at Collector Legion. We have Justin Moore Brown versus Ricardo. Yes, so we have Ricardo on the right playing. He's playing Dredge, and on the left we have Justin Moore Brown, who is on Tron. Hey, Will, you know this. Do you guys sponsor players on tour?
On tour?
Yeah.
What do you mean by on tour? We don't. There are people who travel for GPs and such, but no one's like actively grinding the SCG tour. I mean, like we're a shop in SoCal. It doesn't make a lot of sense for anyone here to be grinding the SCG tour, which is primarily a Midwest East Coast kind of thing.
Dredge, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it should be Dredge versus Tron.
Tron, yeah.
I believe Rick is playing Dredge.
Yeah.
And Justin is playing Tron.
Yes.
Green Black Tron specifically.
So who is favored here?
Justin should be playing Morning Relics in his deck, and if he finds out he's going to be a good spot. If he doesn't, he is probably dead. He's probably very dead. But yeah, as far as I know, no one is officially sponsored for like the GP circuit or anything.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of store players, and we do sponsor things.
Top eights.
For instance, currently one of the promotions that the shop is doing is that if you top 8 a PPTQ in the area, and you take a picture in that top 8 with a Collector Legion shirt, he will spot your entry for the tournament. So you can get
In credit.
In credit. So
Yeah.
you can get back your entry for that event in store credit.
And store credit.
So, you know, a little bit of, like, just giving back a little bit for supporting the shop when you're going out and playing in tournaments and such, and helping getting the name out.
All right, so we have Justin Moore Brown and Rick Barrera. Round number 3,
Ricardo
game
Barrera.
1. Ricardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, who named him Rick? Someone said Rick. Probably was me, I don't care. Ricardo B.
The other thing that JMB can have, Justin can have, is Natron. Natron into a turn 4 Ugin is always going to be good enough against Dredge.
Yeah, so explain to me Dredge. How does it work? What's the key cards and whatnot?
So Dredge is a keyword that says whenever you would draw a card, you may instead put this card from your graveyard into your hand and mill X, where X is the number after the Dredge.
Oh, okay.
So what Dredge looks to do is it looks to break that mechanic heavily. So the key thing about Dredge is that instead of drawing 1 card a turn, what if you're drawing 6, 12, 14 cards a turn? Because what you're able to do is you're able to cast things like Faithless Looting that lets you draw 2 and Dredge twice. Let's say Dredge 2 Sneak Mediums. And because you're actually playing from your graveyard the vast majority of the time, that's functionally drawing 10. So the deck is using Dredge as a sort of advantage engine. And part of that advantage engine is playing the free creatures that you can already see in the graveyard. Bloodghast, a creature that returns to the battlefield whenever a land enters the battlefield. So this Bloodghast is going to be returned to the battlefield. Prize Amalgam, a creature that returns at the beginning of the next end step when a creature enters the battlefield from the graveyard.
So he has 2 creatures coming in right now, turn 2.
Yes, so he's going to have 5 power on turn 3. Not the best start for Dredge, but Dredge has been heavily toned down from its previous days. But the fact is, none of this has cost Ricardo any mana.
Nothing.
All of this is free.
I didn't see that.
So that's a significant portion of the Dredge advantage engine.
So is Dredge a good matchup against humans? Yes or no?
No, Dredge is not favored against humans. The issue with the Dredge matchup against humans is that you only run so many creatures. And importantly, like if you can't get your engine going, you're just going to be too slow. Also, your deck does rely on a couple of key creatures, key spells resolve. Your Conflagrates, your Life from the Loams, your Faithless Lootings, your Cathartic Reunions to keep the gas flowing. And again, this is not the fastest hand from Ricardo. He only put 5 power on the board turn 2, and Jambi is looking at a turn 3 Natron.
What's his name?
Prize Amalgam.
Prize Amalgam, there you go.
So this is attack for 5, Jambi going down to 5, or 15, taking 5. Ricardo still hasn't found a Dredger, has a Dark Blast, but there's not much you can do with it. And playing out this land is going to return a Bloodghast if he remembers, and he does. 7 power on the board.
I think we have it.
JMB down to 15. And Ricardo down to 19. So
Oh, we don't have the thing out there. I'll go get it ready.
light totals are close. Dark Blast being discarded for Ricardo, so he does have some Dredgers going on now. But we're going to see what JMB's following up with. He does have Natron. This is a turn 3 Tron. Karn is a very powerful card here. Karn -3, exile the Prize Amalgam. If Ricardo wants to clear it, he's going to have to use both Bloodghast to attack into it. in which case the Karn functionally gained him 7 life and permanently dealt with a creature. Dredge relies on the graveyard. If you can exile their free creatures, they don't come back anymore. It's the reason why matchups like Jeskai are harder than matchups like Grixis for Dredge. Grixis lacking the ability to typically permanently deal with creatures by exiling them.
And there goes Prize Amalgam. We'll go out there.
Prize Amalgam, a 1 blue black 3/3 zombie that whenever a creature enters the battlefield from a whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control from your graveyard, return Prize Amalgam to the battlefield, tapped at the beginning of the next end step. So we see the Natron, JMB thinking about his plays. Powerful things that you can be playing in the spot. If he has a copy of... If he has a Wormcoil Engine, that's very good. A Walking Ballista is reasonable. It's going to be able to ping out those Bloodghasts, as well as deal 1 damage to Ricardo's face, while also blocking the Prize Amalgam. So we're going to see a Dredge 3 on the Dark Blast. 1, 2, and 3. Narcomoeba gets the free creature. So this is going to be a pretty good Walking Ballista. It's going to be able to ping out 3 creatures.
Oh, nice.
Gain JMB basically 7 life, and then if he has another land, he's going to be able to go play Ugin -3, and that should be game.
Yeah, I think Justin was playing Green Black Tron. That's what he had told me.
He has Green Black Tron.
Okay. Nice.
So we're going to see the attack. JMB should block and then deal with all the creatures. Encourage Ricardo to play the land to get the get the Bloodghast permanently.
Yeah.
So block Prize Amalgam, ping the 3 creatures.
That's what he's gonna do. Nice.
1, 2, and 3.
3.
Yeah, checking the toughness. 1 toughness and 3.
And it's a board wipe.
Yeah, so 7 mana, board wipe, take no damage. JMB at 15. Land likely coming down for Ricardo. Bring back those creatures. It's a Ghost Quarter, though.
Ooh.
Huh.
Nice.
That is unexpected. Main board Ghost Quarter from Dredge. Yes, he is playing a Life from Loam deck, but still.
It's pretty good. He has Ugin Eugene. Yeah, but you can't play it.
He does have Eugene, but he needs to find a tower
Yeah.
if he wants to be able to play it.
Nice.
Insolent Neonate, and
Insolent
likely
Neonate.
going to see the Life from Loam being cast this as well to get back that Ghost Quarter. So Ricardo with the Ghost Quarter is going to buy him potentially this game.
Unless he rips
If JMB does rip
the tower.
a tower, we do see the Ugin come down,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be hard for Ricardo to come back from that. If JMB also rips... Well, that was not a tower.
No.
So he needs to have a tower in hand already, which I don't think I see. So it looks like JMB is going to be limited to 5 mana this turn. Power Plant. This Ghost Quarter is going to go after the tower again. There's an O-Stone in hand as well, but the O-Stone is not particularly powerful here.
And Ricardo's at 19, and JMB is at 15 live. So next turn he'll be taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. Potentially.
It's going to be an attack for 8, and maybe some more dredging. I'm surprised that Ricardo didn't cast Life from the Loam on his own turn, save the extra mana. But we are going to see the Sylvan Scrying, probably getting up a tower. But this is going to get loamed out on the following turn. 5 mana. Let's see what JMB has for this. Not a ton of powerful plays in Tron at 5 mana. And then there's also the question of how many basics is JMB playing? Is he just playing the standard 2 that's common for the multicolored Tron decks? Or is he playing the 4 that's common for the mono green? Or is he playing something in between? I'd imagine he's just on the 2.
Do you think... oh, sorry. Do you think he runs a new card or no?
Unlikely.
No? Yeah.
It's not really the kind of card that the second one's playing. He is playing out the O-Stone, but again, with the Life from the Loam currently in Ricardo's hand,
He's going to pop it.
it doesn't matter if he pops it. It's gonna, all the creatures are going to come back. In fact, he even finds another Bloodghast.
Wow.
So he's going to be able to Life from the Loam back to Ghost Quarter the tower again, and get back the Bloodghast, get back the Prize Amalgam, and threaten lethal next turn. So nothing you can do about this one. Take the 8, go to 7. Bloodghasts now have haste.
They have haste, yeah, because once you're -10. Let's bring in...
Casting Life from the Loam. So unfortunately, that one of main board Ghost Quarter, potentially more, that Rick managed to find is coming in real handy here. We are going to see the Ghost Quarter come down. Unlikely not to. Ghost Quarter, return, Goes toward the tower. So Jambi is going to be able to buy himself a turn with the O Stone. But the question is, where does he go from there? And if he doesn't have another basic, it's probably just going to be lights out.
Yeah.
Prize Amalgam comes back. More than enough power on board for Ricardo to end the game.
And there goes a picture of young Bloodghast.
Yep, just a 2-mana 2/1. Haste comes back whenever from the graveyard whenever you play a land. Again, live draws a top deck tower.
Nice.
That is not a tower. That was a Llanowar Wastes, or Llanowar. Yeah, Llanowar Wastes.
And bam.
5 mana.
Llanowar
He has an
Waste.
O-Stone
That's
activation.
an OG Llanowar Waste too.
He has the he has the O-Stone activation
2, 4, 6. That's a lot coming at JMB.
and
Ooh.
another Prize Amalgam with the Life and the Loam. He's going to be able to dredge back that land, put JMB off another Tron land, and if JMB is out of basic,
Then pop it. Oh, in response, he'll sack it.
just dredging Loam.
Ooh.
Not enough cards in hand for Conflagrate to be lethal yet. Actually, does he?
So does he?
Is this enough? 1, 2,
Two.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Wow. Ricardo takes game 1 between Justin Moore Brown and him. 7 with Conflagrate. Nice. So what does Ricardo bring in?
Ricardo probably doesn't have very much to bring in the matchup. He might bring in like a claim or two to deal with relics that he knows are coming in. Abrupt Decays are another option. Yeah, and I can see the Ancient Grudges being brought to the front.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the game came down to JMB just not having a strong play with his turn 3 Tron. He had the ability to generate turn 3 Tron, but Ricardo did find his Ghost Quarter, which I can't imagine is more than a 1 or 2 of, and was able to keep JMB from finding another tower.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple turns where topping the tower basically ends the game, and he just wasn't able to find it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going. Nice, nice. All right.
On JMB's side, he's going to be bringing in any graveyard hate that he has, any extra graveyard hate. So that's going to be more relics if he has them.
So pretty much for JMB here is pretty much get Tron and drop Ugin.
Ugin is the best payoff that JMB has. It permanently deals with all the creatures, and that's the most important thing that Ugin does for you.
What about Karn?
Karn is fine, depending on how much pressure has already been put on the board by Dredge.
Okay. Nice.
But Karn is definitely not a game ender like Ugin will be. It's possible that Ricardo will have enough power on the board that he can play right through a Karn, but it's unlikely that he's going to be able to play right through an Ugin.
Nice. Nice. You like Tron or no?
I'm not a big fan of Tron. I've never personally enjoyed playing Tron, so not my kind of deck.
How about Dredge?
I like Dredge.
Yeah.
I just like Dredge. Dredge is my go-to. Whenever I play like proxy vintage events, I play Dredge.
It's free magic, isn't it? Well, somewhat.
I mean, you're not really doing magic things when you're playing Dredge. Like, less in Modern. Modern Dredge is not exactly the same kind of dredges as you'll see in other formats. But like when it comes down to it, Dredge is just an inherently broken mechanic, right? It lets you turn a draw 1 to a potential draw 6, although that card is banned in Modern in Golgari Grave Troll. And the amount of card advantage you get just by repeatedly doing those things is significant.
Legacy they have manaless Dredge, right? Or...
Legacy has Manaless Dredge, but Legacy also has Lionside Diamond, which makes your flash.
Jesus, yeah.
Which makes your Faithless Looting even better. It lets you pay Faithless Looting and then hold priority, crack the LED to discard your hand, and then use the LED mana to flash back the Faithless Looting in one turn. So you can draw four to five cards in one turn super easily. Let alone cards like Breakthrough or Cephalid Coliseum, a land that lets you draw 3, then discard 3.
Gee, that's a lot. That's ridiculous.
And then Vintage has Bazaar at Baghdad, which is a repeatable draw 2, ditch 3.
Yeah.
And on a non-legendary land. So you can have multiples in play, and you're typically in the game very quickly, turn 2 or 3 consistently without much issue.
How much does those run you by?
Bazaars?
Yeah.
800 to 1,000 each.
800 to 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, not cheap. Arabian Nights.
Yeah. That's 6, 7. Let's see. Ricardo goes up to 7. Let's see. Is that 7 or 8? No,
That's 7.
That's 7.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him boarding out the Narcomoebas. It's going to make his prize amalgam significantly worse by doing that. And I think he kept in Dark Blasts, which is also a strange decision in general. But we're going to see a turn 1 Thoughtseize coming out of Ricardo. JMB has turn 3 Tron.
There it is. Yeah.
The card I'm looking to take here is probably the Ancient Stirrings. JMB is looking for a payoff, and that's the only card that finds a payoff. There's no point in taking the map.
Yeah.
He already has the map. So and Ricardo agrees. He's going to go ahead and take the Stirrings, which can potentially find another thing to play. Didn't see what he drew.
He drew
He actually
Tron Land.
He drew a was that a mine? Did he actually just top deck the mine?
Yeah.
So JMB just looking for something to do with his mana now.
I was just looking for an Ugin.
Ugin, Wormcoil Engine, Karn. Turn 3 Karn here would be devastating.
Yeah.
You can just start exiling lands.
And which then Ricardo's in trouble.
Yep. Then Ricardo's going to be in trouble. If he did draw the mine, though, I would have played the mine out instead of the tower, even though Ricardo knew about it, because it gives you the 3 mana to play the map and then crack that map in the same turn. Where currently, it can be kind of weird if JMB wants to do something different. But going to see a fetch shot from Ricardo. Not sure what his play is going to be. The most powerful thing he can do at this point is cast Cathartic Reunion with some Dreaders.
Yeah. Cathartic Reunion.
But I don't know if I saw one in Ricardo's hand. But he is tapping 2, so maybe I'm wrong. Nope, he had it.
There goes Cathartic Reunion.
And looks like there's a Stinkweed Imp and a Prize Amalgam. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna
So he's
get
looking
rid of
to.
those.
Well, he sided out a lot of his Narcomoeba, so there's actually no way for him to put a lot of power onto the board this turn. And the first Dredger was kind of a whiff.
And Bloodgas. Well, he has Bloodgas in there.
But it's still a turn off,
Yeah.
which is the problem.
Oh,
Hitting the
another
second
Prize
Prize Amalgam
Amalgam.
is pretty huge, but we're still looking at 2 turns before anything happens. Another Narcomoeba. Conflagrate's a big hit. But
Ooh,
and
2
the third-
Bloodgas.
and the third Bloodgas. So,
Third. Yeah.
so 3 Bloodgasts and a Prize Amalgam in the yard for Ricardo. But unfortunately, no Narcomoebas means that he's not putting any power onto the board this turn. So this is buying JMB a full turn to do whatever he wants.
So you think it was a bad idea to side out the Narcomoebas in?
I mean, this is going to happen when you do those kind of things. It's not necessarily guaranteed that Ricardo would have dredged it. I didn't see any cards that he would sideboard it in.
There you go, Tron.
But, yep, JMB searching up the mine to get ready to have 7 mana on turn 3.
See if he can top deck Dugan.
Karn. Karn is the better draw here. If Ricardo doesn't have a land, for instance, in hand right now, you can exile the green source, cut him off of loam,
Yeah.
and that's huge. If he does, for instance, have another land, though, still hitting a land is probably one of the better things you can be doing this turn.
Ooh.
It's just another
nothing.
4, so it doesn't look like JMB has anything to do with his 7 mana.
And he has more mana in Expedition map.
So like I'm playing out the Expedition map. There's no reason not to. But yeah, unfortunately, JMB nothing to do with his mana. Looking to draw Karn or an Ugin here. I might even just fetch up Sanctum of Ugin with this eye, and hits.
Prize Amalgam.
Yeah, another Prize Amalgam. That's 3rd Prize Amalgam, as well as a Haunted something. The 4 mana thing from 4 mana zombie that returns with a spirit whenever you pay a certain amount of mana and then discard cards from your hand. We are going to see the Life from the Loam come down. The Bloodgas are going to come back. JMB.
Golgari Thug.
No.
No?
It's from Shadows. Like Haunted something. But yeah, seeing 3 copies of Bloodgas returning to the battlefield. Going to see a Thoughtseize. I don't like the Thoughtseize. If JMB had anything good to play, he would have played it. I don't think it matters. The 4th Bloodgas is actually in Ricardo's hand, and we're going to see 3 Prize Amalgams come down. So top deck Ugin ends the game here.
Yeah.
I would have cracked the map on end step for Sanctum. Relic coming in a turn late.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
2, 4, 6, 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, 9.
So that's going to be a total of 15 coming across for JMB. And I believe Ricardo has enough cards in hand to end the game with the Conflagrate.
Yep.
So I think you have to play the Relic and you have to exile his Yard.
Yeah.
So
I hope Justin sees that though. Let's see.
no, he played the Forest this turn,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was a misstep as well. JMB should have cracked his Expedition Master
Yeah.
on end step. There was no reason not to. Yes, it means that he wouldn't have drawn the Relic, but that's not it. That's again results-oriented thinking. Realistically, taking the Sanctum of Ugin out of his deck gives him better sequences if he draws a payoff, and it doesn't shut him off of anything in general. So this is 15.
And then he dies to Conflagrate.
Yeah, he is dead to Conflagrate. I believe Ricardo has 6 cards in hand.
Yeah. So he needs to crack the Relic now.
So he needs to play Relic, crack Relic.
Yeah.
Actually, Ricardo has the full 7 in hand.
Oof.
I don't like playing it off of that because you need to crack Relic main phase. Plays Relic, and JMB is passing, and that's gonna be game. Ricardo checking his Yard. Dredges a loam. Or sets aside the loam. But JMB is going to look. There is a Conflagrate. JMB is thinking about it. I am definitely popping off this Relic. Don't let him dredge anymore. And he's letting him have it.
Mm-hmm.
1, Thoughtseize. 2, Gems on Mind. 3, Insolent Neonate. Return to hand. We're entering Ricardo's main phase. I will... and down to 15. Taking 15. Down to 5. And Conflagrate for lethal. JMB not seeing the line.
Man.
So that's going to be game. You need to discard as part of cost, Ricardo. You need to discard as part of cost, Ricardo. You need to discard as part of cost, Ricardo. Well, regardless, JMB has no answers in that spot.
I think he's explaining it to him. What should have I done?
I mean, it was crack main phase.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, it doesn't look like JMB was drawing into anything. Unfortunately, didn't find any gas, but and that's going to happen.
Oh man.
But
Oh.
I don't believe JMB gave himself the best opportunity to find more action.
Yeah. All
with
right.
the line that he took.
And that will do it for this round. Well, actually, no. Let's go see if there's another match.
Yeah, Ricardo taking it 2-0 over JMB. We might have another game, but we might not have a good opportunity to move them over. So it's possible that we don't.
How many rounds we got? 5?
4 rounds.
4? Okay.
One more round of Magic after this. We might have another match on a backup. Not guaranteed, but we will do our best there.
We'll check right now. I will check.
Good. Announce staples and stuff.
Once again, another reminder. This weekend, June, I believe the 9th. Yes, the 9th. On Saturday. Unless I'm mistaking it. Yep. On Saturday, starting at, I believe, 1 o'clock, potentially 2, is our Modern Staples event. It's going to be likely 5 to 6 rounds, top 8 cut. Prizes range from things like Fulminator Mages to foiled Tron lands. So if you're in the SoCal area and want to travel to Gardena, come on by to try to win some staples. I will likely be there playing or judging or commentating. I don't know yet. I do all the things here. So there's that coming up.
That's it. That's it for this round.
But yeah, it does look like that was going to be it for the round. So we will be taking a longer break than usual as we wait for the 4th and final round to come back. So we'll be right back in a bit.
where's your binder at, dog?
All right, guys. So we have Mono White Taxes and Ad Nauseam. So, Will, we have Mono White Taxes and Ad Nauseam. Who's favored?
Probably Ad Nauseam. Depends on whether or not George finds Thalia. This hand is missing a land. It's a mold of 6.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps it. Scries not a land to the bottom. Turn 1 Lotus Bloom is really good. He needs to find a couple lands, and he should be fine. Don could get there. Nauseum.
There you go.
Oh, finds an island off the top. Serum Visions. Draws a land. Draws a card. Scries to the top. Probably want both those lands. Thalia was found though.
Gone.
Gets to draw the second Darksloot Shores.
All right.
Scries another 2.
Thalia's out.
Ooh, there's the Unlife.
Ooh.
Unlife is a good draw here.
We have Flicker Wisp, huh? So we can Flicker Wisp it.
Flicker Wisp what? The Unlife?
Yeah.
Flicker Wisp Unlife doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything? It doesn't. Wouldn't. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Displacer also does nothing. He will need to pay 1 for the Lotus Bloom, and he does. Don's going to draw the Unlife. Can cast it this turn, but doesn't really want to. Don needs to currently put together 10 mana to go off in 1 turn.
Ghost Quarter.
Going to be difficult. Attack for 5. Puts Don to 13. He still has a couple turns. Another Displacer. Not much of a... 2 turns still left. Temple is picked up off the top. Temple enters tapped. Cry.
Usually don't want to have Ad Nauseam in the hand, right?
He has a Nauseam in hand.
He does.
What he needs is to find an untapped white source to an extent here.
Uh-huh.
To be able to play the Phyrexian Life and then be able to untap and then slam the Etnas.
I'm going to go in for...
So this is an attack for 8. It's
8.
Gonna put Dawn down to 5. If he can find an untapped white source, he's going to be in a good spot. The untapped white source does put in some work here, but the Flicker Wisp in hand means that that might not actually be a viable plan.
Ooh.
Pentad Prism is coming in a turn late, unfortunately. So Don might just be dead here. Oh no, he's fine. He can.
Oh. Do you think he should have conceded there? Or no?
No, I don't think he should have. He could have Lotus Bloom tap, played the Phyrexian Life,
Mm-hmm.
played Pentad Prism, still have 3 mana up for the Pentad Prism. He has 4, so that leaves him with 2 mana available. On the untap, he gets to have the 6 mana for the Ad Nauseam, and if Pee-wee George goes for the Foothills on the Phyrexian Life,
Yeah.
Don still gets to cast Pact of Negation to protect it.
Yeah.
But then I guess he dies in his draw step because he doesn't have an extra land. So maybe it's a little bit too tight. But yeah, Don probably needed to draw 1 more land.
Yeah.
If he was able to find an untapped white source, he probably wins that game pretty easily.
Yeah. So what does George bring in?
Any other combo hate? Eidolon of Rhetoric, very common.
Ether Vials come out. Path to Exiles come out.
You're cutting paths. I would not cut the Ether Vial. It's extra acceleration. It lets you cheat out your dudes a little bit faster and applies more pressure. But it also comes down to how many creatures and things you have to cut. The paths are easy cuts. You just don't want them. Eldrazi Displacer's kind of medium. It doesn't actually do that much for you. It's just a 3-mana 3/3, and you kind of have better threats.
What about Leonin Arbiter?
Arbiter's not its best in this matchup. Dawn does, like, Ad Nauseam does not traditionally play fetch lands. But it does mean that you can't really afford to cut too many, though, or any, really, because part of your game plan does involve using Ghost Quarter as a strip mine, and that only works if you have a Leonin Arbiter.
Thalia is a key card for George here in this match.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I guess Dawn wasn't just dead, because
I don't think he was dead either.
you would have been able to pay for the Pact Negation, and then he just needs to land,
Mm-hmm.
and then he still gets there. So I don't think he was dead. I think Dawn scooped a little bit early.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see. What does Don bring against
Sweepers,
Sweepers?
removal. I mean, it's pretty generic. Mono White Taxes only interacts using creatures, so Don is going to be bringing in things that kills his creatures, because the creatures are the only thing that interacts with Don. Importantly, George does play Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why you wouldn't necessarily cut all of your copies of Displacer, just to be able to Thought-Knot Seer your opponent's hand repeatedly. But that is mana intensive and it's very slow, and Ad Nauseam is not that slow. It is a turn 3, turn 4 combo deck. Pretty consistent at killing you on turn 4. So, and Don was on a 1-lander there. No lander, sorry. So if he actually managed to find those lands a little bit earlier, he would have been in perfectly good shape.
Oh man, he's going down to 6. Does Malik with Ad Nauseam affect his game plan or no?
Not significantly.
No.
It reduces his ability. Oh, they're both doing very poorly. I believe they're both 1-2. But they're just on stream because all of the undefeated players split, and our next highest ranking person did not want to be on stream.
Yeah.
At
Oh,
all.
both of them.
So this is what happens. Don's hand looking pretty weak. I think Ad Nauseam, 2 Pact Negations, and a Phyrexian Life.
Ooh,
Burnt
Forge
Fortender
Tender.
is not a card that I would have brought in this matchup. Don does not play red removal.
Yeah.
Dreadship Reef coming down. That's a storage land. It's going to ramp Don up some mana the turn after he slams the Phyrexian Life, which is likely to come down this turn.
And then there goes Leonin Arbiter.
Yeah, and Leonin Arbiter is going to make this Dreadship Reef a little bit awkward, but what are you going to do? If he wants to play around the Leonin Arbiter, he can choose to
Use a basic.
just play a land and then pass. But nope, Don is going to take the opportunity to put down the Phyrexian Life. Currently looking at a turn 5 kill. He has enough lands in play to get the rest of the way there. It just comes down to whether or not Don...
Oh, you ripped the
or,
Ghost Quarter, I think.
George has the Ghost Quarter, or if he wants to keep deploying some threats. He does choose to play the Ghost Quarter and just an attack for 3. But the problem is this is not a lot of pressure. If he Ghost Quarters this turn, I don't know if he's going to have enough pressure on Don. So it's a storage land. You can pay 1 and tap it to add a counter on it. And you can pay 1 and remove any number of counters to produce blue and black mana of any combination. And it also produces a colorless on its own. So you can use that colorless to pay for the Dreadship Reef activation because it doesn't actually need itself to tap. But George going after the Watery Grave. And yeah, he's not contributing anything onto the board, so that's part of my concern. Wrath of God drawn for Don, and he's able to cast that next turn as well. So unless George has another copy of Ghost Quarter, it doesn't look like Don is going to be in too much trouble here.
He has a Field of Ruin.
Field of Ruin is not nearly as good here. Don will be able to pay for it, even after activating Dreadship Brief.
You think he activates the Field of Ruin or no?
I would activate Field of Ruin in response to the Dreadship Brief activation if you're doing that. Thalia is fine, so you're just going to go ahead and put the counter onto the Dreadship Brief. You can't afford the Pact Negation here because you just don't have the mana to pay for it.
Yeah.
So Thalia is going to resolve, put the counter on the Dreadship Brief, ticks up, draw for turn, draws another Wrath. So you might consider Wrath of Godding on this board.
You can't, Thalia.
You can remove
Oh,
the two
that's
counters.
right. That's right.
And this is a pretty reasonable board to Wrath. It gets the 3-for-1. The Field of Ruin is no longer very appealing because it doesn't put Don down a land, and so he's still in a good spot. But 4 mana is going to be a Thought-Knot Seer, unfortunately, and that's going to strip. Oh no, it's not a Thought-Knot Seer. So Don does not care. It does mean that Don is likely going to have to win using Laboratory Maniac as his kill condition, and he's quite a bit away from being able to make a Laboratory Maniac kill work based on his mana situation. But this is going to be an attack for 3, puts Don down to 10. He does have the second Wrath of God, though. 1 mana, Aether Vial. So looks like George did not cut all the Aether Vials after all. Draw, that's a Temple of Deceit. That vial is not ticked up yet. Temple, Scry. Depending on the draw, he might just Wrath of God this board.
Yeah.
I'm pretty inclined to do it because it sets you up for a pretty clean kill on the following turn.
Nice.
But it looks like he's going to delay. That vial should be on 1.
Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, it should be at 1.
Field of Ruin targeting the Dreadship Brief. It doesn't actually change anything here. And it makes sense that he scribed the land to the top. And he's just going to go for the Adnaz.
Yeah.
Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide. Lightning Storm does not cut it here because of the...
No.
Okay.
No, yeah. You can't.
No one reading Magic cards
Yeah.
today. So it looks like Don is probably just going to scoop him up. Or are they going to game 3? I don't know. I can't tell.
You want me to go tell him?
Well, even though George scooped it up, Don actually had enough mana. With the land drop, he would have been able to go land, Spirit Guide, Pentad Prism, leaving a counter on it, Laboratory Maniac, and then activate play Serum Visions to draw a card and win the game that way.
Oh, that
so
thing.
it wouldn't have actually mattered if Don was paying attention and if George was also paying attention, unless George, of course, had a copy of Path to Exile in his hand, which is unlikely as Ad Nauseam only plays that one creature as a backdoor killout. And even with the one Path to Exile, Don was looking at 3 copies of Pact of Negation as a way to cover his, protect his creatures. So he wasn't in any significant trouble there. But it does look like they're going to be going to a game 3.
Yeah. No, it's not even good.
So going through game 3, George is going to be on the play. His Thalias are going to be more effective on the play. It's going to slow his opponent down a little bit more. Don staring down a no lander again on 5, 6, 7, and that's a ship. On the other hand, George looking at land, Aether Vial, Flicker Wisp. That's good enough. Keep. Looks like 2 lands and a Tashar as well. Maybe 2 Tashars, but no. George is going to join him on 6. Decides his hand's a little bit too slow. Don's hand having mana, interaction, and the Adnaz. Just 1 piece away, so this is looking like a keep from Don here. And George also decided to take a keep. Don taking scrying to the bottom. No. Well, George is keeping, but scrying to the bottom as well. So we'll see what the play is. Might be turn 1 Vial. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, it looks like a turn 1 Aether Vial. Yep, and we do see the turn 1 Aether Vial coming out of George. Seachrome Coast coming out the top for Don. If he has a Temple, he's likely to play the Temple out this turn instead. But first, the Lotus Bloom on Suspend and a Hallowed Fountain as Don's first land draw for the turn, or of the game. Thalia on turn 2. Gonna be reasonably annoying, but still a ways off of ending the game. Turn 2, we're gonna see the Darkslick Shores from Don. Not a ton of pressure coming on yet, but we'll see what... there is a Leonin Arbor in hand as well as the Ghost Quarter, but this is unfortunately not going to actually be able to strip any lands, as Don has the ability to pay for it. Taking a draw for the turn. Don not really able to cast anything this turn either due to the Thalia, but we're going to see the Seachrome Coast come into play untapped due to the mana situation. Leonin Arbor coming down, the clock is effectively doubled. Don still on a 5-turn clock, though, so still got a sizable amount of time to cross the finish line. Likely to see the Tashar come down this turn as well. And Flicker Wisp in hand as the last card. So looking to add 6 more power to the board, put Don on 2-turn clock, and I think that's the play. You can't really let Don have too much to play with. And we're going to see the Lotus Bloom come off Suspend. Don's going to pay for it, draw a card. Second Spirit Guide, unfortunately not very effective in this spot. Scry's bottom, still looking for a way to protect himself from dying to his ad nauseum. Untap from George, not looking to commit the Flicker Wisp in his hand. Draws a Blade Splicer. This is going to be an attack 4-7, which is exactly 2-turn clock, so Don's going to go to 7. And in that case, I don't feel like you need to commit anything else to the board. You might go for a Ghost Quarter on your Don's upkeep. But looks like on end step, George just wants to flicker out the Seachrome Coast, which is fine for Don. Doesn't mind too much. And untap. Draw. Pact of Negation, it looked like, and that's probably going to be it. Yep, and looks like it's just enough pressure. Don unable to find a way to stop someone dying in a Phyrexian Unlife or a copy of Angel's Grace. His hand ended up just being Pact of Negations and Spirit Guides, unfortunately. None of the cards he was looking to draw. Wrath of God in that spot would have been pretty devastating, though. So George still getting out kind of by the skin of his teeth. But that is going to be it for the evening. That was round 4 with Don and George. So we will be back probably Friday. Friday for more modern and or standard. And Saturday is our modern Staples event. So come down and join us for that. I'm William. Johnny was commentating with me, but he is currently away from the desk. But we will be back next time with some more commentary. leave the stream up a little bit longer, but that's basically going to be it for the evening.
Alrighty, guys. I think that's gonna do it for tonight. Yeah. So in first place it was Will Pugh, in second place Carlo, in third it was Oscar, and in fourth it was Grim. So that's gonna do it here for tonight at Collector Legion. That was the top four. Well, I mean not top four. This is the top 4 TUs that we had. And that's all we're going to do for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Make sure we're going to be back on Friday. We will be here. Take care. Good night. Goodbye.